Good show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy Thursday. That's quite snowy and hopefully feels like a Friday. I know they always do. At least you wish they were a Friday.
Oh, man. It's Thursday. I can make it till Friday. Happy Friday Eve to you. And Jimmy K in for Fancy Brian. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for stepping up on the board, and all our fair audience out there. Thank you for listening.
Dominic, we got a big show. I'm excited about this big show.
Me too, man.
It's all going to start with the congressional fate, the committee fate, but perhaps the fate of the GOP. And the vote today in the House of Representatives to strip probably Majorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments because the Republicans will not police their own, will they, Dom?
The QOP? Oh, no, Crudy. Apparently, Greene apologized last night.
Oh, we've got sound
in her caucus.
I guess not today. Of the caucus sound.
Right. So she apologized last night for controversial remarks, and apparently some stood up and gave her a standing ovation.
Slow clap. Standing go. I mean, come on. Are you freaking kidding me?
Right, dude.
No, it doesn't say the entirety of the caucus did.
No, not the entirety.
But you know, Louis Gohmert, he's up there. Will you?
All about it. And then afterwards, Crudy, who was it? McCarthy comes out and, made some comments about, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it. I don't even know what, acting like he had no idea what QAnon was. And how disingenuous with there's sound of him over the course of the last several months saying the word QAnon. It's recognized by the FBI as a domestic terrorist threat. You think the House Minority Leader would know about the FBI's terror threats?
Well, Dominic, a couple of the other big topics of this big show. Will Donald Trump testify under oath? The House impeachment managers have sent a letter. Well, they've offered testimony. Let's correct the record. Former President Trump, you want to come down and defend yourself? Do you want to give testimony after you put your hand on probably a Bible you've never read?
Did you order the code red? He did. I look forward to getting into that conversation.
Lots of things I could speculate.
Oh, yeah.
About what I'd like to ask Donald Trump under oath. Dominic, more than that, here in the great state of Wisconsin, breaking news, soon to be national news. The mask mandate, it's over, baby. Wisconsin Republicans are the singular greatest D-bags in America. They have overturned a mask mandate in the middle of a pandemic. And not only just overturned the mask mandate, but also at the expense to poor Wisconsin families, about 243,000 of them that are SNAP recipients. This vote today in the Wisconsin Assembly happened like an hour ago. This vote means that $50 million a month in food aid ends right now. Well done. Well done, wow. Republicans.
I can't wait to see what their replacement will be. What's the replacement plan?
Well, they got a bill full of poison pills, and if the governor of the state of Wisconsin doesn't sign their bill, well, then it's on him, right? The Republican, Senate-led Republican here in Wisconsin, they're coming into extraordinary session tomorrow to take up this bill because, of course, they ended these benefits today. And they don't really want the optics cast upon them. The Republicans certainly don't. They want to cast this optic upon the governor if he won't sign their new poison pill-laden bill, after it passes the Senate in extraordinary session tomorrow. But in the meantime, no masks and no money.
No masks, no money. A hostage-taking situation. They weren't supposed to meet in the Senate until what? Until February, like middle of February. Now it's reported, well, they're very concerned about this. Not about, a public safety hazard, but the optics and how they can stick it to the governor while at the same time trying to reduce his power. And pandemic.
Dominic, they've done in the face of a pandemic, in the face of 72% support for mask mandates. These Republicans, these singular D-baggish Republicans, because I'd say worse, they have chosen in the midst of a pandemic, 5,800 Wisconsinites dead, to overturn a mask mandate. And if nothing else have we learned in the last week, this was for purely political kabuki theater. I mean, this is all theatrics. And it's all to blame it on the governor, but, they're playing checkers here because they're certainly not playing chess. They're playing checkers with people's lives because the pandemic's not over. The vaccine, although the state of Wisconsin doing better, it's barely in 25% of seniors' arms at this point. So they're really playing a game with people's lives. So they can oppose the governor with a better, more Trumpist platform because they don't want to wear masks, despite the fact the polling in Wisconsin says 72% of the constituents want them to. So, that is some damn fine non-governing malfeasance going on here in the great state of Wisconsin. That'll be a national headline by the end of the day. I feel quite confident.
Tony Evers, most likely, and I'll take the action on this, will just issue another emergency order once the Senate passes this.
Well, the mask mandate has already been stripped on. So it's already happened. The simple act, the joint resolution voted on
tomorrow. It goes into effect tomorrow, according to the report. I've seen it. So Tony Evers, today or tomorrow, all he has to do is issue another emergency 60-day order. And this whole process starts all over again like Groundhog's Day.
I suspect it would go directly to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Now only a 4-3 majority of conservatives at the Wisconsin Supreme Court, not like a 5-2 majority when they threw out the safer at home orders in the face of a pandemic immediately before the Wisconsin primary on April 7th. So breaking news out of Wisconsin, soon to be national news. I mean, you really got to try hard to not only expose people to greater danger during a pandemic, but also to hurt the poorest Wisconsin taxpayers with the very same action. That's a lose-lose.
It all depends on how you look on it. For the Republicans' point, I think they think this is a win-win.
Dominic, you've booked a fine guest. Andrew Seidel joins us once again, Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation. He's going to join at 2:30, and we're going to speak with him in no small part about white supremacy and Christian nationalism. So that'll be a fine topical,
like peanut butter and jelly, man.
A fine topical conversation. And we've got Rep. Mark Pocan, my fine rep from the great state of Wisconsin. He joins us in the 4:00 happy hour. Don, we got a fine new face mask sponsor, and we're going to introduce all the people an American-made face mask. Apparently, you don't need one here in the state of Wisconsin unless you don't want to die from COVID, but it's certainly not mandated. Use your better judgment. But we're going to talk to the co-founder of Lutima, a fine face mask manufacturer, U.S. made. I love this guy, and you're going to meet him in the 3:00 hour. But Dom, let's get to the sound. Let's get to the Majorie Taylor Greene, the drama of the moment. She seemed quite contrite, sort of regretful, like if she sort of seemed like a regretful Sarah Palin giving testimony today. Very similar vernacular as well. See if you notice.
I didn't. I only heard a little bit, and I look forward to hearing more of the sound of Majorie Taylor Greene speaking today on the House floor. But from what I heard, she didn't sound too contrite to me. In fact, I think under her breath, I heard fake news. So let's get into that. And of course, yesterday, Liz Cheney, she's still number 3. Now, what about this vote, Crudy? And what does that say about Republican QOP support for the former vice president? And is this at all a tell for what may happen in the Senate trial?
Well, my question, did Liz Cheney get a standing ovation? And above and beyond that, will Majorie Taylor Greene accept Liz Cheney's invitation, very generous, to go quail hunting in the Texas brush, just like Daddy used to do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's go hunting. Here she is, your QAnon queen, Rep. Majorie Taylor Greene, sort of contrition, air quotes, cut 60.
These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me. They do not represent my district, and they do not represent my values.
Well, they represent your values, at least in the past, and in some cases, the very, very recent past.
How much time has to pass before you can call a comment or an act an indiscretion of youth?
I'm not clear, Dom. More from Rep. Majorie Taylor Greene. School shootings. Please play the cut 61, Jimmy.
School shootings are absolutely real.
The fact that she has to enumerate that in public as part of her testimony, like, you know, the school shootings are real. I believe the earth is round now.
And I never heard of the secret Jewish space laser?
She didn't denounce the secret Jewish space laser. More from Rep. Majorie Taylor Greene, cut 62.
I walked away from those things, and I decided I'm going to do what I've done all my life. I'm going to work hard and try to solve the problems that I'm upset about. So I started getting involved in politics.
So she started getting involved in politics. And it was a slippery slope to Congress from there, Tom? Or was the slippery slope to insurrection? I'm not quite clear. Like, has she moved beyond those troubled times of her past youth? Or you know, is she still living them right up?
She walked away. I mean, come on, man. These are what, a year or two old? I mean, maybe 3-4 years old. This is not an indiscretion of youth. And I don't believe that she walked away.
Dominic, I thought part of this was like her electoral campaign rhetoric. Is she walking away from her own candidacy? Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. This is a big show, and you can be a part of it when you dial 844-967-2789.
When you're trying to stay safe, you want the best protection possible. And when it comes to PPE, that means Lutema. Made in the USA with the highest quality materials, Lutema has mask sizes for all. Lutema masks pass ASTM Level 3 and NIOSH efficiency standards and come in a wide variety of colors and types, including M95i. Get your American-made face mask at Lutema.com. That's Lutema.com. And get 40% off your first purchase single item with promo code RADIO at Lutema.com.
Biden won because of you. Because you stayed in line to vote even when you got tired. Because you knew that your vote is power. Because you understood what was at stake. And because you showed up, we now have the power. Text ACT to 668-366 to join the Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org. Political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. Cody and I have been doing this show for almost 10 years, and we've never had a more engaged, dialed in, and motivated audience, and we love them for it. Now is the time for you to reach the greatest audience ever. Call now and advertise with the Devil's Advocates and Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Get your message out and let the greatest radio audience know how to support your business. Call Luke at 608-819-TALK. That's 608-819-8255. Or go to DARNWI.com. My Congresswoman, Rep. Gwen Moore, over 100 Republicans signing on to that Texas lawsuit. What are your thoughts on your fellow Republicans in the House?
You know, honestly, this is what we all sign up for. This is a democracy. You run races. I've been involved in races where people lose, and I'm ashamed of the fact that we had one congressman, I guess he's brand new, who voted for this nonsense.
Listen to Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. You can join us at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, something of an attempted mea culpa, according to CNN. Majorie Taylor Greene gave a floor speech, and her mask today, it said free speech. Free speech.
It didn't say Trump won. It didn't say stop the steal.
Not
says
today.
Free speech. Not today.
Now, the floor vote on whether or not to strip her of her committee assignments is coming very, very soon, according to CNN. So we'll look forward to that. We'll certainly update you. Oh, there she is, holding it up. Stop the steal. And another picture of her, driving the campaign Hummer. But anyways, Dominic, we got a fine guest joining us soon. Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation. But let's get to the Majorie Greene sound. A little dollop more, skosh more.
Just a bit.
Rep Greene, cut 63.
I was allowed to believe things that weren't true, and I would ask questions about them and talk about them. And that is absolutely what I regret.
That she was allowed to believe things
What does
that were
mean?
not true.
I was allowed to believe things that were not true. How? You're an adult. What are you talking
No
about?
one informed me in my complete and utter ignorance of how wrong I was. But people tried. But, I wasn't allowed to know the truth.
I wasn't allowed. I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. That's very strange. Jimmy K, would you play that one more time, please? I want to make sure I got the whole context of this. Cut 63, please.
I was allowed to believe things that weren't true, and I would ask questions about them and talk about them. And that is absolutely what I regret.
The talking about, the asking questions about, or the believing thereof.
I'm just asking questions here, like the secret Jewish space laser or something serious, like, lynching Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, no, she still believes in that. A little bit more from Rep. Majorie Taylor Greene, soon to be stripped of her committee assignments, I suspect, but we'll wait for the vote. But Dom, it's sort of a mix of truth and lies. Played for the people. Cut 64, Jimmy K.
Any source of information that is a mix of truth and a mix of lies is dangerous, no matter what it is saying, what party it is helping, anything or any country it's about. It's dangerous.
Now, who is she attributing this sort of oily and watery mix of truth and lies? Like, whoever does it, like your side probably, and apparently my side, in my heart, I thought it was true, but apparently the facts and the evidence and the, congressional leadership of my caucus tell me it's time to publicly say it's not true. But I still believe it in that heart of hearts.
I believe it in my heart. Jimmy K, is that all the Rep Greene sound that we have?
I believe it is. No new stuff's dropped. Oh, that's too bad. That's all we're going to play.
I did hear a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have this very specific sound. She got done speaking not too long ago, so it might come out later. But ultimately, her pushing back on media. All the big media, right? So this is the enemy of the people. She didn't say it, but this is the insinuation. Can go back and focus in on one little thing that I say and say that represents me or you as an entire person, and that's not okay. And I thought to myself, how is that any sort of contrition whatsoever? I mean, you have posted these things. You have acknowledged. You've liked.
But she was taken out of context, Dom, so clearly.
But you
took
say
only
that doesn't make it so.
You plucked the craziest of the crazy. Of course, it was a pretty broad field of crazy to choose from, but you grabbed the craziest of the crazy out of context. You didn't get the benefit of the full cray-cray.
Well, we want to hear the full cray-cray. Speaking of one of our dear friends, Betsy, you are up. Welcome, Betsy. What are your thoughts today?
Hey, Betsy.
Hey, first off, my thought is you guys are the world's greatest radio show ever.
Oh, thank you.
It.
That should be always at top of mind.
Now, not to say that. I mean, honestly, I'm addicted to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm like
we're more addictive than meth, in the words of Majorie Taylor Greene.
So I'm told.
Oh, but yeah, that's what I'm calling. You make it fun to a really serious situation, and I've been giggling along, but this is really serious stuff. And this woman, she should actually be arrested for her costing David Hogg as he was doing his First Amendment right to go and speak with Congress about, I just saw all my friends get slaughtered in school, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just, and then for her to even acknowledge, as a fact now, all of a sudden that, school shootings are real. It's just so, she has no business even stepping on, and then.
But Betsy, just because,
Yeah.
and I know that just because the words came out of her mouth doesn't mean she believes any of these words. It's like when Donald Trump would try to clean up a mess and some speechwriter would write the speech for him, right? Everything I said yesterday, I meant the opposite of what I said yesterday. Those sort of speeches.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote this speech for Taylor Greene, some staffer with a slightly higher IQ than hers, probably in the double digits, wrote this speech for her, took the words back, said, no, reality's kicking my ass now.
Yeah.
Really, it's disingenuous. The Democrats sitting there. Can you imagine being our pal, Mark Pocan, in the chamber right now, listening to that speech, or perhaps watching from his congressional office? Because, it's not safe to go in the chambers with so many of these mouth-breathing, non-mask wearing Republican hoaxers. Think about what a workplace that must be. Majorie Taylor Greene, Gomert, Glenn Grothman down the hall. Come back with us, Dom. You better come back. Everybody better come back. We got a fine guest. He is Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation. He is a constitutional attorney and the author of The Founding Myth. Dom, we want to talk a little what? Christian nationalism and white supremacy. They two great tastes that go great together. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
Talk radio made for the 99% on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Are you a small business owner or professional that would like to be featured in your own weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil Radio?
Guys, can you
Let
hear me?
us help you in your business. Team with our broadcast professionals.
Hi, Andrew. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. I don't have a great bandwidth because the kids are home with the snow and they're streaming something, so I'm keeping my camera off. Here, I'll turn it on and wave to you guys so you can see where I'm coming from.
Crazy local music supporters have surrounded the studio. Take a look. What do the signs say? Support local music, double dipping is a right, and I love the Jimmies. What do they want?
Live local music, Jimmy. Catch MagSync Radio every Saturday evening for the best of local music from Wisconsin. And live music performed in the Devil's Lair. Go to magsyncradio.com for the live music schedule. It's MagSync Radio, Saturdays at 6 on Devil Radio 92.7.
Give them what they want.
Donahue with an AP News Minute. President Biden made his first trip to the State Department since taking office.
America is back. America is back. Diplomacy is back at the center of our foreign policy.
The president said he wants to work things out diplomatically, but the U.S. will stand up when needed.
I made it clear to President Putin, in a manner very different from my predecessor, that the days of the United States rolling over in the face of Russia's aggressive actions, interfering with our elections, cyber attacks, poisoning its citizens are over.
The president says he'll stop the withdrawal of U.S. troops stationed in Germany, end support for Saudi Arabia's military offensive in Yemen, and make support for LGBTQ rights, a cornerstone of democracy. President Trump announced the pullback in Germany.
I was able to push my next thing back, so if you want to go beyond
not paying enough for its own
I can
defense.
give you more time.
I'm Ed Donahue.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it with new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine? Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. The Republican-led state assembly plans to convene at 10 a.m. today to once again send the repeal of the statewide mask mandate back to the state Senate. Speaker Robin Vos said if the resolution passes today, the amended package could be taken up by the Senate when it meets again in mid-February. As we did our due diligence, legislative attorneys and conservative legal experts confirmed the Senate amendment had unintended consequences and would actually expand the governor's emergency powers, Speaker Vos said in a statement. The Assembly now plans to repeal that amendment. A winter mix of rain and snow is expected this morning, continuing throughout the day. A winter weather advisory is in effect until noon tomorrow. Expected accumulation is 3 to 6 inches of snow and icy conditions. You're listening to Devil Radio.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we welcome back a fine guest. He is Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation. Andrew, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
A snow day here in the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
Apparently, hell may have frozen over. But, sir, let's talk about the context of the Capitol insurrection and those that participated, and what role sort of Christian nationalism might have played in that. I'll let you lead, Andrew. What do you think the role of Christianity, air quotes, was in this insurrection?
I mean, I think the role of Christian nationalism was absolutely central, right? I mean, Christian nationalism, for people who aren't familiar with that term, it's not a scholarly debate about where our country came from or how we were founded. It's a sinister exclusionary movement. The goal is to redefine America according to the Christian nationalist identity and then reshape our law accordingly. And basically, Christian nationalists say, look, we were founded as a Christian nation. We were based on Judeo-Christian principles. And most importantly, we've strayed from that foundation. We've got to get back to our godly roots. And they use this language of return and this striving and fighting for return to that godly founding to justify all kinds of things, including the insurrection that we saw on January 6th.
Andrew, how does victimhood play in? I mean, I know it's a tool of fascists to tell people be the victims and here's who you blame, but how's that factor into their, God-fearing Christianity?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're clearly the majority in the country, and they've been told for decades that they are instead this persecuted minority. And I think you really saw, I mean, there was two elements. If you go back and watch those videos, the entitlement that these insurrectionists felt as they are attacking the very heart of our democracy, it really boils down to kind of two things: race and religion. I mean, these were white people and these were Christians. They were the majority in both senses. They felt that majority. They felt entitled, continually saying, this is our house. I mean, they believed they were acting not just on Trump's orders, but on God's orders to make America a Christian nation again. That is what they were off to do. I mean, they had signs, Jesus saves. They had In God We Trust, Make America Godly Again. They had the Appeal to Heaven flag, Proud American Christian. We saw the Proud Boys kneeling in prayer before they attacked the Capitol. We saw the people who were actually in the Senate chamber kneeling in prayer. My favorite / least favorite was the flag that said Jesus my savior, Trump my president, right? I mean, the thread of Christian nationalism here, it cannot be ignored. And I'm glad to say that, finally it seems like people and the media are starting to wake up to the threat that this poses. I published my book in May of 2019, and it's not often that you have a subtitle of a book that says Christian nationalism is un-American, and then 18 months later, the Christian nationalists attack the U.S. Capitol and just prove you right. It's not often that you get that lucky.
Well, under that circumstance, please don't write any more books. You talked about the history of violence. I'm quite aware of the sovereign citizen movement, and they've had a history of violence. But the Christian nationalism movement, what's their prior track record?
So Christian nationalism has been around for a long time. There have been various waves of Christian nationalism throughout U.S. history, and this is something that I really do get into in the founding myth. There was a wave in the lead up to and during the Civil War. It's actually part of the reason we likely ended up having the Civil War in the first place. There was another one in the 1950s when we got things like Under God added to the Pledge of Allegiance, and in God We Trust put on our coins, in the Capitol Prayer Room, and the National Day of Prayer. And historically, we've seen it rear its head during times of national fear and crisis. And it often likes to take advantage of those times of national fear and crisis. And there certainly is an intense tie-in with violence. And I mean, again, something that we've seen throughout history. A lot of those militia groups that you mentioned believe that they're defending their God-given rights. Jericho March was one of the groups that was at the Capitol. They certainly wouldn't call themselves violent. The organizers of this wouldn't say that, but they've named themselves after the biblical Battle of Jericho, in which an entire population is slaughtered, right? The Battle of Jericho is actually a genocide in which the biblical God commands his warriors to sack a town and then kill and burn everything in it. And they blow this horn after running around the town 7 times to get the walls to fall down. And they were circling the Capitol, blowing that same horn, right? I mean, so while they may not have been expressly calling for violence, the allusion was very clear for any Christian or anybody who's read the Bible to see.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. He's a constitutional attorney, author of the book, The Founding Myth. And Andrew, thanks for joining us. A pleasure to speak with you once again. And I got to tell you, those flags and the signs and the things that you mentioned that the religious right brought to the insurrection, I took note of the very same day. I mean, a huge wooden cross, God saves, crosses on the pickup trucks. It was everywhere. And I the first thing I thought to myself is, what would the reaction of the United States government or of the general U.S. population be? How would it be different if those were a bunch of brown people with a crescent moon and a star flag sacking the Capitol? Do you think there'd be a different response then, Andrew?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and that's why I really tried to boil it down to race and religion being the two sort of primary drivers of that sense of entitlement that you could see. I mean, and we have a direct comparison on the race front with the Black Lives Matter protests earlier this summer, right? I mean, you saw what the National Guard did around the Capitol this summer. So, I mean, it's a pretty direct comparison. And you pair that with a religion that's not Christianity, it's pretty easy to understand what a Trump Christian nationalist government would have done to that kind of violent attack.
Andrew, I've been calling this the Trump cult for quite some time. A lot of people reference it to like that as well. How does that cult of personality, if nothing else, play into the religious dogma?
I mean, they are in this kind of incestuous marriage. The Christian nationalists' entire identity is based on disinformation about the American founding, that we were founded as a Christian nation, that we're based on Judeo-Christian principles, that our laws are based on the 10 Commandments, that the founding fathers were all evangelical Christians who prayed at the Constitutional Convention, that the Declaration of Independence was written based on the Bible, that we're one nation under God. Their entire identity takes those myths and builds itself around them. And Trump tapped into it in a way that we have not seen in recent years. And actually, the best predictor of a Trump voter in 2016 was not race or religion, or even economic anxiety, but thinking that the United States was founded as a Christian nation. He was very adept at playing to this particular identity. You saw it this past summer when he had protesters beaten and gassed so that he could walk to church and pose with a Bible, right? And this also helps explain, I think, the prevalence of QAnon and some of these other conspiracy theories that we see in the insurrection, right? The entire identity is based on disinformation. So it is susceptible to other strains of disinformation.
Andrew, what about the end timers? Is that roll into part of this, or is that kind of a separate group, or is it all just kind of a mishmash together?
I mean, that's certainly part of it, right? I mean, there's the excitement for the end times, for the Book of Revelations to come true, and hastening that. There's and I do talk about this a little bit in the Founding Myth. I mean, that it's a central element to Christian nationalism, and it's one of the reasons that, for instance, the Trump administration moved our I'm blanking on the word, to Israel, not assembly. Oh my gosh, you guys.
I think that's exactly what you meant. I think Dom interrupted and said, move the embassy to
embassy.
Israel.
Yeah.
We all got it there. We put it together.
Yeah. I can hear in the background the children who are not at school doing something, and I'm half paying attention. Yes, but moving our embassy to Jerusalem is part of this to help hasten the end times. I mean, Mike Pompeo is when he was our Secretary of State, and before that, is this big believer in the end times, and they're doing what they can to hasten this. And this is just more of the Trump administration rewarding that Christian nationalist identity and putting that Christian nationalism into the public policy.
Andrew, is there anywhere in the Bible where it says masklessness is next to godliness?
I'm not familiar with that. The next book I'm writing is called Weaponizing Religious Freedom, and I am diving deep into the idea that churches and believers have a right situated in religious freedom to infect the rest of the country. Spoiler, I come down on the side that they actually don't have that right to kill us.
Quick question. Joe Biden today gave a speech from the National Prayer Breakfast, extending this time-honored tradition of U.S. presidents. What do you think of that tradition, Andrew?
That is absolutely a Christian nationalist tradition. Jeff Charlotte wrote about this in his book, The Family, which became this Netflix special. I think it's episode 3. He really kind of gets into this. It's not that old of a tradition. It dates back to the 1950s, which I already talked about. We saw a wave of Christian nationalism. That absolutely needs to be abolished. I mean, a national prayer breakfast, a national anything is a contradiction. Anything religious is a contradiction in terms when you're talking about a country that invented the separation of state and church.
I'm a little apprehensive to ask, since you've been scary and prescient in the past, but do you have any predictions, Andrew? Where do you think the Christian nationalists go from here?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I don't think Christian nationalism is going away. I actually think that this is probably the beginning of something worse. I mean, again, we've seen these waves throughout American history, and those waves leave Christian relics in their wake, things like In God We Trust and One Nation Under God, and they're relegated back to the fringe. But we have to push them back to the fringe, right? It's up to us. We have to fight against this movement. People need to know how to refute and repudiate Christian nationalism, not just with better facts, but with better arguments. And that's really what I was trying to do when I wrote The Founding Myth, was to give people the tools to help push Christian nationalism back to the fringe where it belongs, and point out that this is fundamentally and irrevocably an un-American movement.
But Andrew, if the Democrats utilize the same invocations as these Republicans have historically, how do you draw distinction, sir?
I mean, I think that's a great point. I think it's problematic. And talking about the prayer breakfast, you saw Senator Chris Coons from Delaware saying this morning, like, no, this isn't a Christian nationalist thing. This is about coming together for Jesus. And that may be what he wants it to be, but that's not what everybody else understands it to be. And there is a very real danger that by not pointing out that under God was added to the pledge deliberately by Christian nationalists to foist their God on a country and force children to repeat it when the country was busy with other things, and that In God We Trust was added to our coins during the height of the Civil War when we were literally brothers were killing brothers, right? To pretend that those things didn't happen and to pretend that there's not that history and to whitewash it is to invite Christian nationalism to come back again in another wave in the future. And so again, that's what I really tried to do in The Founding Myth, is to just write this definitive book that disproves these myths and goes after the identity at its heart.
We got 30 seconds left. Andrew, do you think the Catholic Church should receive another round of PPP?
Absolutely not. Another bombshell story this morning from the AP. I mean, they've clearly abused it. Churches never should have gotten PPP money in the first place. That was clearly unconstitutional.
Terrible.
Andrew Seidel, appreciate it, sir. Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation, constitutional attorney, and author of The Founding Myth. Thank you so much, Andrew. We'll invite you back soon.
Anytime, gentlemen. Thank you.
Or Devil's Advocates, phone lines open, 844-967-2789.
All right, well, what does your church tell you about when people say that they're the second coming of God? My reason tells me the man is certifiable. I want your opinion, Gary.
I would say anybody who comes back and says that, I would say you'd be the Antichrist.
I am the chosen one.
So Trump is the Antichrist then, Gary, by that logic?
I'm not saying he is, but
But he said he's the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
Gary, by your biblical logic, Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
America has chosen Joe.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime you want me to come on and talk about this stuff, let me know.
Have a great day.
See ya.
Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org. Political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates, inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Join us on the phones at 844-967-2789. Want to thank our friend Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, author of The Founding Myth. Always appreciate his input. And Crudy, breaking news.
Oh, I love when it breaks during the show, Dom.
The Associated Press from the Washington Post out of Madison, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers issues new mask mandate less than an hour after the GOP-controlled legislature repeals prior order.
I believe I have a quote from the governor. Suck it, Robin Floss. You know what Tony Evers' patron saint is? Why, of course, it's the holy mackerel, Dom.
Oh, no, that's terrible. And so true.
844-967-2789. So during the course of the last 2 hours in the state of Wisconsin, we've seen Wisconsin Republicans overturn the emergency mask mandate at the expense to the poorest Wisconsin recipients, those unfortunately out of work or for whatever reason, they're recipients of SNAP benefits. And the Republicans, through their actions, would have cost these very recipients 243,000 households $50 million this month and every subsequent month. And the governor, singular, the gubernator, Tony Evers, gave him the big middle finger back and said, take that, Republicans, Robin Vos, and the rest of your caucus. And for once, I applaud you.
Yes.
Attaboy, Tony.
Well done, sir.
967-2789. Going to the phones. Catherine from Madison, you're next. Welcome. What do you got for us?
Hey, Catherine.
Oh, hi, guys. That was such a good section you had there with talking about religion and the United States and so forth. And I just wanted to say, we all know it's not all religions. I mean, in the past, the Quakers had a lot to do with the abolition of slavery and Martin Luther King with civil rights. Sometimes I think the problem is more the education, and that if you are not well educated early on, that you can get sucked into these conspiracy theories and into all this. Because I mean,
well, it's indoctrination, just like the Republicans accuse the public schools of indoctrinating the kids, with facts and science and history. They don't like that sort of indoctrination, Catherine. They got a whole different book in mind.
And I think the other movements is just the opposite. They were getting away from when you were indoctrinated that slavery is good or that black and white people need to be separated, all that sort of thing. It's like an opening up of your mind as opposed to being indoctrinated by making things even stricter and worse than they are, So I just wanted to say I thought that was a great segment, and I wanted to congratulate you guys for doing that. And I wanted to add, it irritates me even when we have to have a prayer at the inauguration or anything. I think we should just not have any religion at all when you have any state function. Total separation. And they try to make it that this person that's giving a religious invocation at the inauguration is multi-religion, but forget it. I'm not a religious person myself, so he's not representing me. Stick to nothing as far as religious in any state thing. That's my opinion.
Catherine,
Catherine.
I make this pledge to you, Catherine, right here on Devil Radio. We will never have a prayer of any sort, so help me God.
Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate the input and the call. The nice thing for the religious types, if it doesn't say whatever your political feelings might be, maybe your whatever your bigoted feelings might be, whatever your homophobic feelings might be, well, if it doesn't say it specifically in whatever fantasy book you're believing in, today's religion is, or tomorrow's mythology, if it doesn't say it specifically, you can claim it's in there somehow because you read into it, because it's all a matter of belief, right? It's all a matter of faith. It's a matter of faith. Well, like the QAnon, trust the plan. I mean,
well, there are a few contradictory passages in the Bible. I've noted a few contradictory passages. Dom, let's leave time for at least a few more callers. 844-967-2789. Mark from the SAC, welcome back. I understand you're a little agitated, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
I've calmed down, taken some deep breaths with Tony's action. But I'd like to, that Robin Vos was in violation of the flag code, having the mask, having the flag on his mask that he's wearing there looked like Robin Vos there. I noticed he was wearing a mask if that was indeed him. But
well, that was an American flag. That was some secessionist state that they plan on creating later.
But that is a violation of the flag code. And as far as the God in God we trust on the coins, it did not appear on most of the coinage until the 20th century. I mean, it was on the 2-cent piece, and what's interesting, in some of the coinage, they actually had the Goddess of Liberty, like the Mercury dime had the Goddess of Liberty, because that's who it was. I mean, our coinage typically had our goddess of liberty on them, but in God we trust on the very same coin, which is kind of a odd connection that I just kind of made, that noticed that. But I mean,
a little of the Greek mythology, a little bit of the Judeo-Christian, throw it in the mix.
We'll just mix it all in there.
844.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Want to get one more in? 844-967-2789. Jack from the Mac, you are up. Welcome, sir. What do you got today?
Well, it seems that in order to keep their tax-exempt status, religions are supposed to stay out of politics. And that real clearly isn't the case, especially in the extreme right-wing religions. The IRS has got to start doing something about this.
Well, I left the church because I felt like the pastor, who was a friend of mine, but I felt like he was preaching from the pulpit. And this was well before Trump. But Jack, I couldn't reconcile sitting there at the time. I think he quoted Rick Santorum to the congregation. I almost walked out on the guy. I said, you ever do that again, I'm walking out. And he again preached from the pulpit, and I left the church.
Yeah, I can understand that. These guys have no business at all sticking their nose in politics. We're supposed to have separation of church and state in this country. This is, the right wingers, I'm sure, are going to scream blue bloody murder if the IRS does start investigating these churches.
Well, what they do when the IRS tried to investigate these sort of dark money tax exempt 501c3s, calling themselves the Patriot Party. Of course,
which actually for political facts. And they weren't real 501c3.
Well, no, they were misusing the tax code to the benefit of grandiose donors, and then they went after the IRS for trying to hold them to their tax-exempt status qualifications. I think Lois Lerner was the name that sticks in my mind.
Maybe with Democrats arbitrarily in charge of the federal government, we can do something.
Jack, cutting you short, man. Pay that cell bill. Or,
Call, Jack.
Coming out of the snow. It is snowing here in Wisconsin. Come back with us. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates. We'll heat it up next.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. You know Zero Res also cleans air ducts? They've got honest, straightforward pricing and the same great service. Give us a call, and in January, get a free permanent filter with every air duct cleaning. Call us at 608-848-9000 or zeroresmadison.com.
We did it. All across this nation, voters like you turned out in record numbers to elect Joe Biden. Now, it's time to come together to address the issues that matter most: tackling climate change, expanding access to healthcare, ensuring racial justice, and putting Americans back to work. Text ACT to 668366 to join the Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Hold.moveon.org not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
You're listening to W224EG at WTTN 1580 AM, always streaming at devilradio927.com.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Georgia Republican Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene could be stripped of her committee assignments over racist and violent rhetoric.
These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me. They do not represent my district, and they do not represent my values.
On the House floor, Greene said she is a very regular American. She said 9/11 did happen.
You see, school shootings are absolutely real. And every child that is lost, those families mourn it.
Massachusetts Democrat Jim McGovern heard what Greene said.
I did not hear an apology or denouncement for the claim, the insinuation that political opponents should be violently dealt with. I didn't hear anybody apologize or retract the anti-Semitic and Islamophobic remarks.
Greene blamed the media for her political problems. House Democrats want former President Donald Trump to testify next week at his Senate impeachment trial. South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham says it's a bad idea.
It's just a nightmare for the country to do this. It's just a political showboat move. They didn't call him in the House.
President Biden visited the State Department.
America cannot afford to be absent any longer on the world stage.
The president says the U.S. will no longer roll over to Russian aggression. He called for the release of opposition leader Alexei Navalny.
Mr. Navalny, like all Russian citizens, is entitled to his rights under the Russian Constitution. He's been targeted for exposing corruption. He should be released immediately and without condition.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers issued a new statewide mask order an hour after the Republican-controlled legislature voted to repeal his previous order. Stocks are higher at the close on Wall Street. This is AP News.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it. With new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine? Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
Do you know the Devil's Advocate started as a podcast, just two buddies talking into an iPad because we thought we had something to say? Do you have something to say? Let Devil Radio guide you. Launch your own broadcast quality podcast. Utilize our studios and staff, our hosting platform, and we will even promote your podcast on Devil Radio. Monthly packages start at just $295. Devil Radio's podcast platform to launch immediately after the election. Call today to learn more. 608-819-TALK.
Hey folks, Patrick here from Pegasus Games, here to remind you that we're open for all your at-home gaming needs, both online at pegasusgames.com or in-store from noon to 6, with extended hours on Saturday and Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon for high-risk customers. From our new line of puzzles to pass the time, to the perfect board game to reconnect with family and friends. Walk-ins welcome or curbside pickup available over the phone or online at pegasusgames.com. Pegasus Games, home to games you never outgrow.
Do you want to make the most of your wealth so you can live the life you want to lead? Hi, I'm Sue Peck, a CFP professional with Evolution Financial. I'm a local, independent, fee-only fiduciary financial advisor. When you choose Evolution Financial to manage your wealth, you're gaining a partner who will listen to your goals and guide you with your best interests in mind. Let's create the world you want to leave for future generations. Contact me at Evolution Financial by searching online for Evolution Financial Madison.
Evolution Financial is a registered investment advisor with the state of Wisconsin. Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Hey, it's Pizza Box Mike. I've got a show outside the Pizza Box. Be sure to listen on Saturdays at noon on Devil Radio. There is a reason why they won't let me on Facebook anymore.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. Wisconsin's effort to get the initial dose of the COVID-19 vaccine to residents is picking up speed after lagging most states during the first month of the rollout, according to new data from the CDC. Wisconsin ranks 29th nationally in the number of doses administered, up considerably from 45th just last week. As of Monday, the state ranks 29th in the nation and 5th out of all Midwestern states, with 7.4% of its population given at least the first shot, according to CDC data. Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager charged with fatally shooting 2 men and wounding a third during the Jacob Blake protests in August, is under further scrutiny by authorities. Wisconsin prosecutors Wednesday asked to issue an arrest warrant for Rittenhouse, stating he violated his bail agreement by not disclosing his actual address after his release. You're listening to Devil Radio.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates radio show. Lots of breaking headlines. Dominic, we're waiting on a vote at the U.S. Congress whether Majorie Taylor Greene will be stripped from her committee assignments. We're also monitoring a letter from the House impeachment managers to Donald J. Trump, encouraging him to come give sworn testimony during his impeachment. Oh, please, Mr. Trump.
Yes, please.
I'd love to see that. And Dominic, we got some breaking news. It is always troublesome when our state makes the national headlines. What happened?
Well, it wasn't the Green Bay Packers. There have been no new mass murderers identified in the state of Wisconsin. So it must be bad Republican governance. Welcome, world.
And specifically, I guess I'll take it from here. There was a mask mandate in place in the state of Wisconsin. We've been monitoring this ever-changing event in that Republicans sought to overturn the emergency mandate, the mask mandate. Of course, in the midst of a pandemic, 5,800 Wisconsinites dead. The Republican Senate passed this bill last week, and then it turned out the day before the Assembly was going to pass it. Some breaking news in the state of Wisconsin. This effort to overturn the mask mandate would come at the expense of $50 million a month in SNAP benefits for the most needy of Wisconsin beneficiaries. And they decided today they'd go forward anyways. Screw you, Governor Tony Evers. Screw you, poor people. And of course, screw you, 72% of Wisconsinites that actually support a mask mandate being in place. So they're embracing the Majorie Taylor Greene, the Trumpiest of the Trump side of their party. For what reason, I'm not exactly clear, Dom. But then what Governor Tony Evers do in response?
Governor Tony Evers has issued another mask mandate.
My subheadline
after the Republicans have, and this is, and how long has this been going on, right? The Republicans have done literally nothing for like 8 or 9 months. They get together.
Let's call it 10.
To the governor. 10 months. Damn, I know time flies. They get together to stick it to the governor, and then it falls apart. And the reporting was, and everyone knew, well, why wouldn't Tony Evers just issue another mask mandate? And
that's tyrannical.
Now, isn't there a case right now in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court regarding the powers, these specific powers of the governor of Wisconsin to issue these 60-day health mandates?
Buddy, you want me to keep track of every hoaxer piece of legislation between the accusations of electoral fraud and the mask mandates and the trying to overturn the governor of the state of Wisconsin? You would need a beautiful mind and a scorecard, and I have neither. Let's get to the phones briefly. 844-967-2789. Andy from Beaver Dam, welcome back. What do you got for us?
Hey, Andy.
Well, first of all, hip hooray for Governor Tony Evers for just put out another one. He can play this basketball game back and forth. But the other thing
you can't see it, Andy, but I'm giving him a standing ovation right now. Well done, Tony.
Stand up, Tony. But the other thing is this Margaret Taylor Greene. Now, how in the hell did she ever get elected to Congress in the first place? What district in Georgia is she at?
I believe it was the 14th, and she had a lot of support from the former president, Donald Trump.
Well, that would do it. That would be enough. Yeah.
I mean,
I can't understand anybody would elect somebody with such outlandish views, statements.
Come on, man.
Don't you live in Glenn Grothman's district, or is it Scott Fitzgerald's district you live in, Andy? He who casts stones.
I'm just inside of good old 50s district because Sensenbrenner's old district comes right up to Grothman, south of Beaver Dam. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. But
well, Fitzy was the conductor of the Trump train, and let's not forget his first vote as a congressman was to challenge the electoral outcome in the vote for Joe Biden. That's
right.
Your congressman,
Who would
Andy.
vote for what kind of constituents would vote for a loon ball like that? Oh, sorry, Andy.
I can't take credit for it. I don't know. They're all crazy up here. They love 50 and everything, and they love Glenn Grothman. So, what can you do? I don't know, but we're still up here listening. As like Betsy said, right on, you guys. You're doing a tremendous job in information, and you're the only shining light in the forest as far as progressive politics that I know of. So it's all good, man.
It's all good. Thanks for the call, Andy. Appreciate it, man. 844-967-2789 if you want to be part of this fine show like our pal Profane Ronnie. Ronnie, welcome back to the show. What do you got for us today?
Happy
Hi, guys.
Mail Carriers Day, Ronnie.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
It is.
Oh, nice. Happy Mail Carriers Day.
I know that because
Thank
I saw
you.
it on your social media page.
Well, and I only know that because I tore off the daily calendar that we have, and I go, oh, hey, it's my day.
All
and
right.
what a grand day it is. Couple of things. When you first started out, and the first thing you said was that the Republicans voted and they overturned it, literally, I had a physical response to that from the top of my head, through my body, down to my toes. It was just like the blood was draining out of me. I was so mad. And I mean, to physically have a reaction to their actions, it was just like, I was just speechless. And then I also kind of reversed that when you told me that Tony Evers just reinstated it a little while ago. So thank God that happened. I'm just so mad at those stupid Republicans. I have to be careful not to pull a Dom from yesterday and use a different word. But,
come on, Ronnie. Why are we living in the past, sister?
Profane Salvia, that's his new moniker.
What was the name of the guy in his book? The guy that you just had on, because he was awesome.
Yeah, Andrew Seidel. He's with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, a book he wrote a couple years ago, probably the last book I purchased, The Founding Myth. It's a good read, and we need people to be able to push back. And I thought it was a good interview. I would have liked to have some more, perhaps, bullet points, Ronnie, because when they stand up and they claim this is religious freedom, and they throw some Bible verses in your face, and how many ex-governors do you see out tweeting Bible verses all the time, and the hypocrisy that they're not living their lives? And I don't believe any of it, but I mean, I just don't understand why they go down this road, and why they have to have and take this belief that they have in their religion and somehow try to apply it to government. That is right. Not. I don't want Sharia law. I don't want canon law, Ronnie.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Because like my church, they don't preach from the pulpit per se. They always, pray that we'll get the right people governing us, which you know what they mean. But, they always pray to give us the government we need, not the government that we deserve, because we're all sinful and we deserve bad, blah, blah, blah. But what's funny is this national prayer breakfast. I mean, they're just like, oh, that's fantastic. Except my church, like my church body, I'm very far right Lutheran, Wisconsin Synod Lutheran, and literally we are not allowed to pray with other faiths. So like if you're at a Catholic wedding and they say the Lord's Prayer, literally they don't want you to say the Lord's Prayer because the doctrine is just a little bit different. If you're at a Baptist, whatever, if you're anywhere that's not WELS, you are not supposed to pray or sing because it would be like mixing the religions. And yet, National Prayer Breakfast, isn't that fantastic? So, I mean, the hypocrisy continues. I love my church. I have my faith, but there is plenty of hypocrisy. And if I would have called in yesterday, it would have been crazy train.
Well, we
For so
appreciate
many
you
in our nation,
calling it.
this is a dark, dark time. So where do we turn? Faith.
Turn
So
to
the caller
faith,
on
says President Joe Biden.
Was that from today? Or
That was from the prayer breakfast.
The prayer breakfast. Yeah,
Thank you,
Faith.
Jimmy K. Sorry if we interrupted you, Ronnie, you profane one.
Do you agree with that, Crudy? I mean, the faith
Ronnie's
isn't going to stop
blasphemy.
the planet from burning, right? Faith isn't going to do that. Faith isn't going to stop the.
We have dominion over
coronavirus.
all the lands in the beast here, Dom.
Yeah.
We just
How's
take
that working
more.
out?
Well, it's working out for some billionaires, and they mostly have bomb structure somewhere, Dom. But the rest of us, we're screwed. Possibly.
Listen,
Joe Biden could throw us back in the Paris Accord, and maybe AOC will be the next president elected, and maybe we would do something substantially. But in the meantime, Dom, we're propping up the Catholic Church with lots of PPP money.
Oh, let me just throw
God
this out
needs
there.
it.
Let me just throw this out there briefly from the AP before we run out of time. I mean, the amount of money that the Catholic Church received is unbelievable.
But they're only
Let's
sitting
see.
on like $10 billion in reserves, Dom. They needed the help.
Even with their financial safety net, 112 dioceses that shared their financial information, along with the churches and schools they oversee, collected at least $1.5 billion in taxpayer-backed aid. The majority of these dioceses reported enough money on hand to cover at least 6 months of operating expenses. The financial resources of several dioceses rivaled or exceeded those available to publicly traded companies like Shake Shack and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, whose early participation in the program triggered outrage. Federal officials responded by emphasizing money was intended for those who lacked the cushion that cash and other liquidity provide. Apparently, the 200 dioceses where bishops and cardinals govern and other Catholic institutions received at least $3 billion. That makes the Roman Catholic Church perhaps the biggest beneficiary of the paycheck program.
6 months reserve? What's that mean? Come back with us. We've got a fine new sponsor. We welcome him to the airwaves. He is Eddie Fonick, co-founder of Lutima Masks, the only mask I wear. More Devil's Advocates.
Eric Holder, he's the former U.S. Attorney General and current chair of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee.
The notion that Scott Walker is saying that we are doing something to push partisan gerrymandering, that is the pot calling the kettle total black. I mean, that's absurd. He is one of the architects of among the most gerrymandered states in the union. All we're pushing for is a fair process come 2021.
Listen to weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
Biden won because of you. Because you stayed in line to vote even when you got tired. Because you knew that your vote is power. Because you understood what was at stake. And because you showed up, we now have the power. Text ACT to 668-366.
Hi, Eddie. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. We'll be on the air in just a couple seconds here, okay? About a minute.
Okay. I'm trying to get my earphones in.
Can you pronounce your last name, please?
Panichkal. With a P. P sound.
Panichkal. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greatest radio audience know how to support your business. Call Luke at 608-819-TALK. That's 608-819-8255. Or go to darnwi.com. Our friend Scott Russ.
Johnson's going to have this hearing next week. The way in which he has misused and abused his office in order to try and further these crackpot theories he has. He had 2 anti-vaxxer hearings. I don't understand what the point of that is. It's one thing to be like, all right, if you're a Republican, you're like, I'll just try and forget that Trump said we might be able to inject ourselves with bleach to solve this COVID problem. But why would you so revel in your own crapulence that you would actually have several hearings in the United States Senate.
Listen to Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
Hey, dude, quit bogarting. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. If you missed any of this fine program, please go online to domandcrute.com. You can listen to and download podcasts and interviews.
Dominic, we got to find a new sponsor. He joins us right now live via Zoom. He is the co-founder of Lutima Masks, a fine product. Eddie, say your last name, man. I just don't want to get it wrong.
Panichkal.
I struggle so with names, sir.
It's okay.
But welcome. You were kind enough to send me some of these fine masks. I've got the M95i, and since I've received them, it's been a couple weeks now. Eddie, this is the only mask I have worn when I've
left. It's a great mask.
It is. It's comfortable. It fits snugly on my face. Eddie, you guys make a fine product, and it's made in the USA, sir.
Yes, it is. We make these masks right here in the U.S. I guess we're seeing. You can see that on TV if you have it on your webcast there.
Now, Eddie, sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say that here in the state of Wisconsin, where I reside, and I understand you may now reside.
Yeah, I do. It's snowing right now.
Just overturned the mask mandate. Eddie, that seems to fly in the face of science and logic. What's your thought on that?
Of course, it's ridiculous. I mean, science tells. I mean, even since day one, we've advocated for wearing masks, and with the Trump administration just flatly not giving a damn about masks, it's really hurt us, as a country, and trying to get us through this pandemic without adequate safety measures is, it's like we're doing one thing but not the other. That's not spread, and that's why we see these numbers scatter everywhere.
Now, Eddie, I heard it proposed. I believe one of the Biden administration officials suggested perhaps it's time to send a mask to every American. As a manufacturer of those said masks, I'm sure it's a good idea in your opinion, sir, but it seems to make sense. I mean, there are people that don't have the resources or can't readily access a disposable mask. Eddie, what do you think about the idea? Send a mask to every American.
Hey, I tell you, if the Biden administration says, hey, we need all U.S. mask manufacturers to send a mask to everybody in the country, we will come together. We're founding members of the American Mask Manufacturers Association. And if we were to be called to do this, we definitely would. Getting people to wear it is another thing. And that's just trying to change the hearts and minds of people who are, for some reason, politicizing this and making this about something that it's not. I mean, it's about safety. It's about Americans. It's about making sure your family doesn't die from this deadly disease.
Eddie, I don't mean to call you out politically, but I understand you weren't a big fan of the Trump administration.
I personally was not, but I have family that they're on both sides of the aisle. My parents, they definitely voted for Trump, and they live in San Diego, which is fine because California is a big blue state. But here, I mean, I'm happy to have voted not for Trump, for Biden, and my vote definitely counted, and my vote matters.
Folks who are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, we got to find a new sponsor, Lutima Masks. I wear nothing but Lutima masks now. Eddie, I'm sorry, I've forgotten momentarily where I was going.
Let me jump in here.
Yeah, please bail me out, Tom.
You're welcome. Eddie, how did you get into the mass production, and where are your facilities, and how did you get into distributing here these masks here in the States?
Of course. This company is actually founded by a friend of mine from high school. Actually, believe it or not, we've been friends since junior high. We just did an interview about how we started this whole thing, and I had just gotten married. We got married in Wisconsin, then we did a Thai wedding for my family over there. And we flew back, and a couple days later, this was in January 2020, and they closed down the borders. Was like, what's this virus thing going on? And everybody over there was worried about the next SARS or whatever. And so we had the foresight, knowing that the Trump administration was probably going to do nothing, to really ramp up distribution of the mask. And when we got distribution from China, from other parts of the world, and we saw these masks were just not up to par, we decided to manufacture our own. And we got the machines. They came from parts came from China, from Korea, from Japan, and we basically hit this thing head on with the aim of just providing enough PPE for Americans. That's how we got started with PPE. We pivoted from our current electronics manufacturing business.
And Eddie, with the challenge here politically on the mask, I mean, the public health is settled science as far as I'm concerned. But it seems to me there's been a cultural shock here in the country that, oh my goodness, we have to wear masks for our own health and for those around us. How do you think the best way is to overcome that for our fellow citizens?
If science doesn't work, you really have to come from an empathetic level. Like, we don't want grandma, we don't want our friends, we don't want our close, people close in our lives with immunocompromisation to like go through this disease. My family members have gotten this. It was no picnic for anybody. And friends of family of friends have passed away because of this already. And you can't say this is made up stuff, and barring all that nonsense, hopefully people do take it seriously or are starting to take it seriously. And we just have to be adamant about wearing masks. I mean, they do it all around the world, without question. Why are we the only country in the world that has a big issue with this? No shirt, no shoes, no service. And, people are crying like this is somehow states' rights, personal freedoms. I don't get it. They're just masks. Wear them.
Well, maybe we should encourage them because, again, you pointed out this is an American-made product, made in the USA.
Right.
America first, you Trumpsters. Wear it on your face.
That's true.
And Eddie, I got to tell you, when I got the package, I had received some other masks from an alternative manufacturer in the mail, and they were Chinese-made masks, and I was disappointed. I got to tell you, Eddie, I was so excited to get the Lutema mask. Eddie, please tell people what we're doing special for them when they go to your website and enter radio as a code.
Oh, I actually don't remember the discount, but I know it's a pretty good discount. What is it, 30 or 40%? 40%.
Told the people 40%, sir. That's what the ad said.
Oh, no. It's 40%. It's 40% off your first time single purchase item. And, if you can't afford to get a mask, just email me. I will send you a mask. We didn't do this to make money. We did this to help Americans.
Buy American-made mask. It is a quality product. It is comfortable. Eddie from Lutema, that's spelled LUTEMA.com. Go there for the finest of American-made masks. Thank you, Eddie. Come back with us for Devil's Advocates.
Thank you.
Here's how you get them. If they bring a beer, you bring it old-fashioned. If
Cool.
they bring cheese,
Is that it, guys?
bring casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way. That's Devil Radio.
Are you a small business owner or professional that would like to be featured in your own weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil Radio? Let us help you in your business. Team and sponsored segments are podcasted. It will be professional broadcast quality. Packages from $395. Call Devil Radio today at 608-819-TALK.
America has chosen Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to lead our country. Now it's time to get to work. Time to expand healthcare and tackle the coronavirus pandemic. Time to restore our democracy and unify our nation. It's time to put this administration to work for us. Text ACT to 668-366 to join the Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org. Political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org. Not authorized by any candidate.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 332 points. A sizable number of people are still losing their jobs during the pandemic. The Labor Department says 779,000 people filed for unemployment. No signs yet of leaning toward an agreement in Congress on a coronavirus economic relief bill. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says if Republicans have any good ideas, let's hear them.
If there are good faith amendments from the other side, we look forward to them. What we cannot do, however, is think small in the face of big problems.
Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says the $1.9 trillion President Biden wants is a lot of money.
We've borrowed and spent almost as much fighting COVID-19 as the federal government spent on everything in 2019.
The governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, issued a new statewide mask order an hour after the Republican-controlled legislature voted to repeal his previous order.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it with new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine? Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. 3 years after committing to build a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility and create 13,000 jobs in Wisconsin that have still yet to materialize, Taiwanese tech company Foxconn is being sued by a real estate company for failing to deliver on its promises. The lawsuit, filed in Racine County Circuit Court by Daniel Hintz and Hintz Real Estate Development Co., also names Racine County and the village of Mount Pleasant, which has spent millions of dollars on upfront investments, including infrastructure and land acquisition for the project since 2017. A winter mix of rain and snow is expected this morning, continuing throughout the day. A winter weather advisory is in effect until noon tomorrow. Expect accumulation of 3 to 6 inches of snow and icy conditions. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, a fine new sponsor. We welcome Lutima Masks. And I kid you not, my new favorite's mask. It's not even close. I don't wear the cheap ones anymore. I just wear these quality American-made Lutima masks.
That's awesome. Crudy, I jumped on the site and I didn't have a whole lot of time to look around. Do they come with the, are they reusable? Are some of these reusable? You can actually stick in a filter?
I have been reusing them. I'm not sure if they're...
Okay, but you're reusing the disposable ones, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, there are a couple different kinds. Eddie sent me, the surgical style that are ATSM3, which I would describe as disposable, but they're a tri-layer mask, and we've got those out in the lobby. You can have one of those if you come visit Tom. But the quality, the M95Is, the ones that fit around your nose and your chin, and they hold flush, and you feel confident, like you can go shop or meet the public, the adoring public, Tom.
Right.
So this quality mask is the one I've been wearing exclusively. Now I've rotated them because my breath does get a little funky every now and again, and that transfers to the mask surface apparently. So I can, when you can smell the mask, it's time to replace the mask with another quality American-made Lutima mask. LUTEMA.com, and if you go to their website and you enter the code radio, you'll get 40% off your first single item order.
Nice.
So try them for yourself. I got to tell you, and I don't mean to oversell the whole mask concept, but masks have kind of become an important accoutrement to, leaving the house. And the first time a proposed partner in selling these masks sent me some Chinese made masks, I got to tell you, I was underwhelmed. And you never heard us selling Chinese made masks on the airwaves, but now these American made ones, I am fully supportive, mostly because they're comfortable and they got the bridge of the nose pincher. They fit right there. They stay snug.
Nice.
Much better than the cloth ones I used to wear.
You're not just a spokesman, you're also a client.
Yes. I am.
Awesome.
I am. Yeah. Very excited to have them on board. And they're our new allies. They're playing out in Minnesota, and they're playing out on WCPT 820 AM in Chicago. So they have also joined us in this Great Lakes regional alliance we've got with our fellow independent progressive talk radio stations. So tell all your friends, tell your neighbors, only mask you need, LUTEMA.com, and get 40% off. Use radio as the code.
Awesome. 844-967-2789.
I didn't even make you people remember Devil Radio. You're welcome.
Just radio. Breaking news, some more breaking news, Curdy. This one coming out of the Washington Post. Trump will not testify in next week's Senate impeachment trial. His spokesman said in a statement Thursday, quote, "The president will not testify in an unconstitutional proceeding," Trump spokesman Jason Miller said. The statement from Miller came shortly after Trump's defense team responded to a call from Jimmy Raskin, the former president, to testify and accuse Democrats of waging a public relations stunt. Quote, "As you certainly know, there is no such thing as a negative interference in this unconstitutional proceeding. Your letter only confirms what is known to everyone. You cannot prove your allegations against the 45th president of the United States, who is now a private citizen." The attorneys did not expressly say in their letter that Trump will not testify. They were dismissive of Democrats' efforts. Quote, "The use of our Constitution to bring purported impeachment proceedings is much too serious to try to play these games," they said. And I would just wonder, Crudy, if the Trump team thinks that this is an unconstitutional proceeding, well, why have any attorneys show up at all?
Well, Dominic, my understanding, Miller just contradicted the legal pleadings of Trump. Because first and foremost, Trump never conceded in his legal pleadings. He is the 45th president, currently and forevermore. And above and beyond that, he's claiming he didn't lose.
I don't know.
First Amendment says I have the right to challenge the veracity of the election. That's his legal pleadings, effectively.
Sure.
That's different than saying it's unconstitutional. He fired the legal team that wanted to say it was unconstitutional. Our understanding from the reporting.
Well, Miller says it's unconstitutional, and his current team of attorneys also said it's an unconstitutional proceeding. And I would again say, then why bother showing up to the unconstitutional proceeding? And this whole 45th, referring to himself as the 45th president, and his legal team also follows that with, quote, "who is now a private citizen." But even without that, I mean, no matter what happens, if Trump becomes a number in a jail cell, he will still be and forever be the 45th president of the United States.
Well, let me ask you this, Tom. He will not willingly testify, but now private citizen Trump is subject to congressional subpoena. Private citizen Trump doesn't have the busy work of governing the United States going on, which was his shield from testifying the first time around. So why can't private citizen Trump be subpoenaed and compelled to testify? Just asking.
That's a great question, Michael. I'd love to have him on up there and taking the fifth. Take the fifth, because whatever he says in an impeachment proceedings in his quote-unquote defense can be used against him in the sure-to-be criminal proceedings coming down the line.
844-967-2789. We'll get to the phones momentarily. Tom, do you also see another defamation suit? $2.7 billion. This one, apparently, against the legal team? Did I see Sidney Powell's name and maybe Giuliani's name? But prominently on that lawsuit, Fox News.
Fox News, yes.
You're suing the platform.
Smartmatic files a $2.7 billion defamation suit against Fox News over election fraud claims. The sub-headline at the Washington Post: Fox News media hosts Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, and Janine Pirro were named, along with lawyers Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. Their quote: "Fox is responsible for this disinformation campaign,
No
which
Tucker,
has damaged
no Hannity,
democracy worldwide and irreparably harms Smartmatic and other stakeholders who contribute to modern elections," their CEO said. The company has identified, quote, 100 false statements and implications about Smartmatic and its services made on Fox's programs. As mentioned, Daz, Pirro, a couple of guests. No, I don't see I did not see any of the Hannitys on here.
Well, maybe because Hannity is listed as an opinion host, as is Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham. But Maria Bartiromo is supposed to be one of the straight newsy people, right? And over on the Fox Business News, well, Lou Dobbs is nothing if not the most respected of journalists and white nationalists, but first a journalist, right?
I guess.
844-967-2789. Jake from Milwaukee, welcome back. What do you got for
Jake.
us?
Yeah, I have to say the Republicans' political platform, which is Blaine Evers, is pretty successful. I mean, they've accomplished so much. You know, and they're even like the starving poor people, even in their own districts. They're so happy about that. So I just want to thank the Republican Party that your platform is awesome, and you should just keep it up. And I would actually like to applaud Tony. And I think the Republicans are bringing out the angry Tony, the angry old man Tony that crew knows better than anyone else.
There's fire in that belly, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been ignited. And I think partly because of there is federal backup now for what he does. And I think he's going to take the lead and actually, because Joe Biden's actually right now, like punching more and, doing, being tough and actually, not being squeamish and just doing it, right? That's what you're here to do.
Yeah,
So
you're not hearing Tony
actually
say, "I'm not clear I have the power to do this." I mean, that kind of talk and seemingly that thought process is long gone.
He doesn't have to do it. He can just do it. And that's what he should do it. And he should don't hold punches, because these people don't care about anything other than their own power. So good work, Tony. Keep it up. Keep on punching. We like it. Punch back, punch twice as hard. See you guys.
Amen, brother. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it, man.
Punch him in the nards if you got to, Tony. 844-967-2789. You didn't interrupt me giving the phone number for a change.
I let it go. Just a reminder of this. Patrick Marley from the Journal Sentinel back on January 27th, talking about this food impact, how it would affect people here in the state of Wisconsin. 200 and some thousand people getting, would not be getting this $49 million a month. And they break it down. And I thought I would just say this one out there. The amount of money at stake for individuals is huge in some cases. Many low-income senior citizens who now receive $204 a month for food would see their monthly benefits drop to $16. So way to stick it to the low-income senior citizens, Republicans. $200 down to 16. Are you kidding me? And you have absolutely no plan to do anything about it except try to stick it to Tony. What a terrible circumstance.
Alan Grayson, I believe the former congressman from Florida, Democrat, had it right. The Republican plan, die quickly.
844-967-2789.
Dick for Madison. Jake's buy me a Coke.
Hey, Dick, welcome. What do you got?
God.
Hey, Dick.
Well, here's what I got. I thought they were the party of Christmas. They just took Christmas away from me 11 months out. Last Christmas was bad enough not being able to get together with family like you should. And now he's not going to testify?
I know. Wrecks it for me too, man.
And then I love this. Because it's a PR stunt? His whole presidency, all 4 years, was a PR stunt. We used to have a saying in our old neighborhood, if you're so big and bad, bring it. Bring it, dude. I thought you were the guy that could sell an icebox to an Eskimo, the art of the deal. Come on, man. Let's see it. Why don't you get out there with the pillow man and defend yourself? Wouldn't you like to see the tag team together?
Yes. Absolutely. Talk about some reality television, Dick.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't it be great? That is really rich, though. You got to admit that. Call it a PR stunt.
The unconstitutional impeachment, and thanks for the call, man. And I
well,
love,
you can't call it a
reaction.
damning indictment that rings true.
But if it's unconstitutional, if this whole thing is a farce, then why even bother to show up to defend yourself? I mean, who cares, right? You're already out, Trump. So what? Why even spend the effort? Why even make the effort to defend yourself? And if you were the one, and why not? If you're not guilty, right? Then why not take the stand? Tell everybody how you were so wronged. Tell everyone how all you want to do is stop the steal. Tell everyone, well, I said, don't be violent. And I told him to stand down hours afterwards. I mean, say all those things, Trump. Stand up and do it. I'm with you, Dick. I'd love for him to do it.
Do you know what Morning Joe Scarborough is now calling the Republicans?
What?
The lynching caucus.
Oh,
from his quote this morning. Of course, that's the lynching caucus. This is, of course, a woman talking about Majorie Taylor Greene, who called for the lynching of President Barack Obama, called for the lynching of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, told everybody to be calm, take your time, don't rush this. If we do it right, we can lynch Barack Obama. This is what she said and what your Republican Party gave a standing ovation to last night. She said, if you're just patient, we can actually lynch, we can kill Hillary Clinton. That's what she said, he added. And they're giving her a standing ovation. She called for a bullet in the brain of the Speaker of the House, assassination of Nancy Pelosi. That's what House Republicans gave a standing ovation to last night. She said, Jews, you can't compare these people to Nazis. That's wrong. Oh, how dare you? She said the Jews, a Jewish cabal, was responsible for the wildfire fires in California because a Jewish laser. It was the Jews' fault. My God, how could anybody draw parallels to the Nazis? And the woman got a standing ovation from the lynching caucus. Republicans, you top yourself each and every day. And we tell the people all about it right here on the Devil's Advocates. Call us up. Join the frivolity, 844-967-2789.
The Devil's Advocates. Ass, grass, or cash. Nobody rides for free.
Santa, what if the kids have unrealistic requests? Like they want a dog for Christmas, and the parents don't want to get another dog for Christmas.
Actually, Santa doesn't carry live animals. And there's a reason for that. At 36,000 feet, a live animal and a little wind current doesn't make a pretty sight.
I swear to God, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah, but puppies can't.
We did it. All across this nation, voters like you turned out in record numbers to elect Joe Biden. Now, it's time to come together to address the issue that matter most, tackling climate change, expanding access to healthcare, ensuring racial justice, and putting Americans back to work. Text ACT to 668366 to join the Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Hold.moveon.org not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
The Devil's Advocates.
Darren from Madison tells us he's a former Capitol Police officer.
You can't even compare the two of what happened, yesterday and with Act 10.
Darren, did you, as a Capitol Police officer, ever witness any violence in the Wisconsin State Capitol?
Nope, not at all. It's about as peaceful can be when it comes to peaceful protesting. It was an unlawful assembly, but at the end of the day, there was no violence at the end of the day. It was people coming in and singing.
Listen to Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looked so good.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Join us on the phones at 844-967-2789. Congressman Mark Pocan going to join us at the top of the 4 o'clock happy hour. We'll take your calls until then. Crudy, New York Times reporting on
My
this.
concern about the appearance of Mark Pocan, Majorie Taylor Greene, we have yet to see the vote stripping her of her committee assignments. He, of course, in D.C., in the Congress, I hope they don't pull him away to vote.
They better not. We look forward to talking to one of our favorite congressmen in the happy hour. Crudy, the New York Times on the refusal or rejection of the offer for Trump to testify. You mentioned it. I want to just read a quick paragraph here. The House managers could still attempt to subpoena testimony from Mr. Trump during the trial, which is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, but doing so would require support from a majority of the Senate, and members of both parties already gunning for a speedy proceeding signal skepticism to calling Mr. Trump on Thursday.
All you need is 51 votes. You better be down, Joe Manchin. You better get in line, Kristen Sinema.
Right?
Call up Kamala Harris. Call up Patrick Leahy. And let's make this happen. If all it takes is a majority vote, we've got 5 Republicans that apparently have shown there's some indication they're willing to convict. You got your votes. Trump needs to testify, baby. Subpoena him now. Put his hand on a Bible, probably still in the wrapper, if it's a Trump Bible, and put him on the hot seat. I would say, no more than 11 hours, no more than Hillary had to testify over Benghazi, because that was about 4 dead. Well, Dom, let's make it 12 hours because we're talking about 5 dead.
Yes, let's add a little bit to it and make the former president reject the subpoena. Make him defy the subpoena. Put it in his lap. I don't think the law and order Republican Party. Come on.
I'm not clear that he has any provision to decline a subpoena on. He's not the president
just
anymore.
Not showing up. Yeah, well, come get me.
Well, they could literally come get his ass and drag his ass to the Congress. They would have the enforcement mechanism. It would have the weight of law. He's not a president anymore. All those shields, all those get out of jail cards, all those not subject to indictment while the president stuff, that's all behind us. And this is clearly a political process. The impeachment is a political process. But Congress has the weight of subpoenas, and they do have the power of enforcement. I'd like to see the new sergeant at arms knocking on the front gate at Mar-a-Lago.
That would be fantastic. I hope they do it. I really do. I want to see this process play out in as many ways as possible.
Yes, would I. And I guarantee you this, if Trump testifies, we will play that on the radio. We will preempt everything for 11 hours or longer if necessary. We will play the entirety of the Trump sound if he testifies ever. If Trump ever testifies publicly, it will play on this radio station. I make that pledge. So help me God.
844-967-2789.
So, Dominic, lots to talk about in the happier 4 o'clock happy hour. We've got Congressman Mark Pocan. We'll talk about the perhaps breaking news, the stripping of committee assignments for Majorie Taylor Greene. We'll talk about what's happening in our backyard here in the great state of Wisconsin. Well, Republicans are screwing poor people and trying to screw the governor of the state of Wisconsin. And, by extension, all of us, because they're overturning a mask mandate during a pandemic. And even if people take personal responsibility, some people don't. That's why you take their child support out of their check. That's why you put the blow stick on the drunk driver's car so he can't, the ignition thing. Just go ask Joe about that.
The ignition interlock. Right. That's
if
why
people
we
took
have
personal responsibility,
laws.
There wouldn't be an ignition interlock. I mean, there's a whole sector of the marketplace that just deals with the drunk drivers that didn't take personal responsibility. And now if they ever want to drive again, they got to pay for this expensive part on their car, right?
Yeah. Entire industries are made around people's irresponsibility, right? I mean, why enforce any sort of tax collection? I mean, wouldn't everybody just do the right thing, like Donald Trump paying $750?
I'm not clear
in taxes
that the U.S. government does worth a damn at tax collection. Most of the audits are against working class people.
Yeah, it's
the richer you are,
to audit rich people, they have resources,
and the more convoluted your taxes, the less the likelihood of audit. Unless apparently you're Donald Trump. His taxes and his testimony under audit. He'd love to testify, but
totally come on.
I'm under this audit. You'd be so proud of my testimony. you know, it'd be worth $10 billion at least.
I mean, I would
If
totally
only I
do
could
it, but
give it to
it's
you and show it to you.
unconstitutional. It's just unconstitutional. So I'm not going to do it. And that's again another great point. If they were somehow able to have the courage to find the votes, 51 votes, to force a subpoena to have Donald Trump come and testify, what would his reaction be? Would he just stand behind? Well, it's unconstitutional, so I'm not going to show up. And that's when you get dragged into the court, right? Just like the sovereign citizen getting drug out of the restaurant for not wearing a mask, screaming, "My sovereign citizen." Yeah, good luck with that. Tell it to the judge. I hope it happens. I'm very excited about it.
Hey, Dom, final thought here. I kind of need a ride, man. You doing anything later? Can you drive down to Madison, get me a ride home?
To Madison to give you a ride, man.
I told you I've been driving.
Cab.
I've been driving. You and everyone else gave me the call to cab. The guy who didn't have my Jeep done today said, take a cab over here. I'll pay for it.
Right.
I'm like, there's a blizzard going on, man. I don't want to take a cab across town to drive back across town. In the interim, Dom, I've been driving a pickup truck and I had to take it back. It was a rented pickup truck. I'm apparently not a pickup truck sort of guy.
No. Did you haul anything in the bed, man?
Mostly just ice that went slamming around in the back of the pickup truck. I'd turn a corner. I think I hit somebody. It was either that or ice in the bed. So that was not a cool feature of the pickup truck. And the fact that when the four-wheel drives on it, like you can't like park it. It like fights itself, if you're four-wheel drive. So apparently you got to turn off the four-wheel to park.
I blame user error, man.
I did look
power
cool
steering,
getting
right?
up in there. I look perfect in that pickup truck.
You look like, I'm sure you wear that cap, get a little gun rack in there, Crudy. You styling in that pickup.
Well,
truck.
it was a rental, so only the temporary gun rack and the Confederate flag, of course. I had that.
Yeah, of course.
And a couple of Trump flags from the fenders. Yeah, I was full MAGA for a couple days there. But now that the snow's flying and my Jeep's not done, I had to turn the pickup truck in. So now I have no vehicle. I'm going to stand out there on the corner, stick my thumb out at 5 and
just call a cab.
Hope for the
be
best.
Fine.
Yeah, but I'm so cheap, man. I'll call a cab.
Come on, there's an app for that.
I just thought I had friends for that. Come back with us. Apparently not. Thank you to our fine guests so far, Andrew Seidel from the Freedom of Religion Foundation. And don't forget, Lutema masks. Super good deal. Jimmy K already bought a 5-pack. Got a great deal, like 5 packs of 3 masks each. 15 masks for under like 30, 40 bucks. 35. That's a great deal. Come back with us. The 4 o'clock Happier Happy Hour. Congressman Mark Pocan. We hope.
This is Brad from Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. If you like a fresh and clean home and you like to save money, now's the best time of year to get your carpets cleaned. January, February, Zero Res is running a winter special. Save money and get the best cleaning in Madison. Give us a call, 608-848-9000.
The Lazy Oaf Lounge is Madison's East Side place for friends and family. Stop in for a cold drink, stay a while for lunch or dinner. Awesome pizzas, juicy burgers, tasty apps, and a fish fry that is out of this world. Staying home for dinner tonight? No problem. Place an order for pickup or delivery at lazyoaflounge.com. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road, Madison. Order online at lazyoaflounge.com.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
You're listening to W224EG and WTTN 1580 AM, always streaming at devilradio927.com.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. At the Senate impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump, House Democrats are asking Trump to testify next week. They want to ask him about what happened January 6th, the day of the deadly Capitol riot. Republicans are opposed, and so is Delaware Democrat Chris Coons.
I think it's a terrible idea. Why?
Have you met President Trump?
An advisor says the former president won't testify. In his first major foreign policy speech since taking office, President Biden says the U.S. is returning to a world stage Donald Trump abandoned. Here's the AP's Sagar Magani.
After 4 years of America First,
America is back. Diplomacy is back.
On his first trip to the State Department, the president sought to reassure a diplomatic corps maligned under Trump that it'll be at the heart of a foreign policy reset.
I trust you, and I'm going to have your back.
He took a strong line on Russia, saying he told Vladimir Putin in a phone call the days of the U.S. rolling over are gone. The president says he's freezing a U.S. troop pullout from Germany, ending support of Saudi Arabia's offensive in Yemen, and making LGBTQ rights a cornerstone of diplomacy. Sagar Magani, Washington.
The House has been debating whether to strip committee assignments from Georgia Republican Majorie Taylor Greene. On the House floor, she did not explicitly apologize for her racist and violent rhetoric.
Because if it weren't for the Facebook post and comments that I liked in 2018, I wouldn't be standing here today, and you couldn't point a finger and accuse me of anything wrong.
Greene also looked to shift blame while falsely equating her own endorsement of violence against Democrats with those in the party who supported racial justice protests over the summer. Former President Donald Trump has resigned from the Screen Actors Guild. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 332 points. This is AP News.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it with new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine?
Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
Stop flushing money away. Replace your old water-wasting toilet, and Madison Water Utility will give you a $100 bill credit. Madison Water Utility's popular toilet rebate program is back for 2021. We've saved more than 1 billion gallons of water just by getting rid of old toilets. Get your $100 credit by upgrading to an EPA WaterSense model. Bill credits are first come, first serve until funding runs out. Find out more at madisonwater.org. Madison Water Utility customers only.
This is Chad Spate, owner of Chad's Design Build. For almost 30 years, we've been improving, restoring, and expanding homes while also advocating for social and economic justice. Most of our clients want to build back better, while some want to make their old house great again. At Chad's Design Build, we'll listen to your needs, carefully assess your home, and then provide thoughtful solutions which respect you, your home, and your budget. We are proud of the relationships we have built. On behalf of Chad's Design Build, thank you.
This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. Cody and I have been doing this show for almost 10 years, and we've never had a more engaged, dialed in, and motivated audience, and we love them for it. Now is the time for you to reach the greatest audience ever. Call now and advertise with the Devil's Advocates and Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Get your message out and let the greatest radio audience know how to support your business. Call Luke at 608-819-TALK. That's 608-819-8255. Or go to darnwi.com.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's darnwi.com. That's darnwi.com.
Madison, you say what? Each weeknight from 5 to 6, don't miss out on a single day of the Earl Ingram Show right here on Devil Radio 92.7 FM, 1580 AM.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. First reported by Up North News, in private emails, Representative Jim Steineke called the Racial Disparities Task Force, assembled in the aftermath of the police officer-involved shooting that left Jacob Blake paralyzed, a political loser. Steineke, who is the Assembly Majority Leader, was appointed to be the co-chair of the task force by Speaker Robin Vos, who was the recipient of the private emails. Despite calling it a political loser, Steineke said the GOP could use the panel to make Governor Tony Evers and his fellow Democrats look bad, the newly released emails show. Governor Tony Evers pardoned 37 people on Wednesday, raising the total number of pardons he has granted to 114 since he entered office. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are sliding into the 4 o'clock Thursday happy hour, a snowy Thursday afternoon. And we welcome back a fine guest, my congressman, our friend, Mark Pocan. Mark, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark, before we talk about the action on Majorie Taylor Greene and other fun stuff happening in D.C., I got to give you a little grief. Your buddy, Robin Vos, who you made a mask up commercial with, led his caucus on the assembly side to overturn the mask mandate in the state of Wisconsin. Mark, any comments for your former friend, Robin Vos?
Well, I tweeted quite a bit today and we put out a video, so I think I've had a few comments. But, you know, Robin did the right thing when he did that video. We needed, after Trump, after the election, a Republican to tell people to wear a mask, that it's not a conspiracy or a lie, and he did the right thing. And I think what happened is he has so many QAnon-type members now in his caucus that that's not an acceptable position anymore. So what they did is waste a tremendous amount of time and taxpayer resources, and most importantly, messaging about masks today, because it was all for naught. Because now the governor once again did another order, which is what we needed, and the assembly proved that once again they don't know how to govern. What has it been, 9 or 10 months, and they haven't done anything? You know, they're starting to be a broken record.
And Mark, as I understand it, this joint resolution effectively ended SNAP benefits to the tune of $50 million a month for Wisconsin's poorest citizens. And I know they were trying to hand Tony back a crap sandwich, a legislative piece filled with poison pills. I think asking him to restore the mask mandate, but only in very certain ways that they were going to dictate to him. But they had every intention of taking money, food literally, out of the mouths of poor Wisconsinites, Mark.
Yeah, no, we had been looking into what the language they had and trying to obviously help on that on a federal level. But, you know, at the end of the day, all this turned out to be was a QAnon kabuki dance, right? I mean, you know, the governor still has the mask order in place. They huffed and puffed and proved that they didn't blow anything down. And what an incredibly awful messaging about the need for masks. So, you know, while the speaker did the right thing last fall, today was a huge, huge failure.
Mark, let's talk about the Kabuki Theater happening in D.C. right now. Majorie Taylor Greene apparently went before the caucus last night, and the Republican caucus barely retained Liz Cheney in their leadership position, but gave your peach of a colleague from Georgia a standing ovation, apparently, Mark. Do the Republicans ever surprise or disappoint you, may we say, Congressman?
I've learned not to be surprised anymore in watching them. But, talk about, the QAnon factor taking over the Republican Party. I thought that the Tea Party was the extreme right. Well, the Tea Party now are the reasonable moderates in a Republican Party that's having a civil war over their identity. I mean, they're not a conservative political party anymore. They became a cult of Donald Trump, but now that their cult leader isn't there, they don't quite know what to do. So this conspiracy-laden group QAnon has taken over such a strong presence, both in Congress and in legislatures like Wisconsin, that they have a real struggle. When Liz Cheney is the voice of reason, woo, we got some problems.
Folks are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Congressman Mark Pocan joining us on the phone. Congressman, we did play a few cuts of Rep. Majorie Taylor Greene talking on the floor today. And while she did acknowledge that, 9/11 actually happened and there are school shootings, I didn't hear a whole lot of retracting of liking the, putting a bullet in Speaker Pelosi's head or lynching President Obama or Secretary of State Clinton. Mark, what was your impression of her floor speech?
Well, it was a non-apology apology. It was, please don't take away my committees because I've done all these horrible things. And, she didn't apologize. Still, Randy, our good friend Randy Bryce, had a good tweet today. I retweeted where he said, look, I'll believe her maybe when she apologizes to David Hogue after she followed him as a 17-year-old kid, harassing him because she didn't believe in the shooting. So the only thing she's sorry for is that she got caught being a QAnon nut. And, that's not enough to save her butt right now.
Mark, you talked about the struggles going on within the Republican Party. And, Lindsey Graham said a long time ago, if Trump becomes president, it's going to destroy the party. And seemingly that is some of the struggles they're going through right now. The Dems, on the other hand, a little bit of a honeymoon going on right now, Mark. Where do you see this, the COVID $1.9 trillion bill getting passed through reconciliation? Obviously, lots of pieces in that, the $15 minimum wage. How do you think this is going to go, Mark?
Well, first of all, I've been very impressed that Joe Biden has hit the ground running. I mean, we knew he wasn't a rookie, but he's, done more than I expected coming out of the gate, especially around COVID. And on this bill, instead of what happened when Barack Obama got elected and the Republicans had, made a commitment to never work with him, Joe Biden's been through that. So he's saying, look, let's work together. But I'm not going to wait for you guys on the side. I'm going to get on the dance floor and bust some moves. And, he's doing just that. So I am glad that we're moving ahead with this reconciliation process. It takes 50 votes instead of the weird Senate rules that require 60, as long as it's got fiscal impact. But this is stuff that we need desperately. We should have did last year. Don't forget the House passed that COVID relief bill in May, and it took until almost the end of last year to get a watered down bill that did not resolve the problem. And every economist says we need to go big if we're going to take care of this. So, we're doing the right thing. Joe Biden's absolutely doing the right thing. And I hope the Republicans want to do the right thing. But if they would rather debate whether or not there's a Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot or whatever conspiracy is going to be next week's conspiracy, they're going to do that, but we're going to get something done for the American people.
Mark, Joe Biden apparently has proposed $1,400. I know there's some pushback from progressives. Is that a sufficient enough direct stimulus for the American people?
Well, I think, we had obviously hoped for 2,000 additional, but he's taking it as the 600 was given, and this is 1,400 more, and out of this is a $1.9 trillion package. So, obviously, we're still trying to talk them to getting it higher, but, you can see what the Republicans did. They came up with a package that was 30% of that package. I don't think we're going to have any help on the other side of the aisle. But, what's in that package is a lot of help for state and local governments, a lot of help for our frontline workers, a lot of help around vaccines and things we have to get out, a lot of help for renters, a lot of help for getting healthcare access to people. And, we wish it was the 2,000. We didn't mean it to be adding up to 2,000, but we also want to make sure we can get a minimum wage in this and a few other things. And I think our focus right now is to get as big a bill as possible.
Mark, any concern that means testing will be part of this direct stimulus? We hear Senate Democrats like Tim Kaine advocating for that. What's your thought, Congressman?
You know, that's the problem when you have a 50-50 Senate, right? Any one senator can hold things up relatively easy. So, you know, I'm hoping that there'll be some pressure not to make significant changes to what Joe Biden's proposed, because I think it's representative of what we need at this moment to deal with COVID. But yeah, I think that is going to be something that's going to be on the table moving forward.
Congressman Mark Pocan joining us for about 3 more minutes. Mark, what do you see as the next priorities after this one? HR 1, the For the People's Act, do you think that will be on the front burner then? Where would you like to see efforts being made, assuming we can get past this initial COVID relief bill?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you look at the first 10 bills we introduced, of which obviously that's number one, those are all going to be priorities. We'll try to be moving. Many of them we already moved in the last Congress, so it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. But also, I think a big infrastructure package, because it's part and parcel to helping the economy recover, you know, post-COVID, although hopefully it's happening, you know, before that, because we're going to have to get those dollars out there to get people back to work. But there's going to be a lot that has to happen. I mean, don't forget, you know, Joe Biden kind of inherited twin crises, both an economic and a health crisis, and we've got to address those first and foremost. But that doesn't preclude us from moving other legislation.
Mark, what about compelling testimony from the former president in the impeachment trial in the Senate? Is the ball in the House caucus's court, Mark, and your colleagues on the Judiciary Committee next submit subpoenas and force the former president to testify? Please tell me yes.
I think I saw he officially turned it down, I believe.
Well, that's because it's a request, not a subpoena, sir.
Yes. Well, if people can prod Donald Trump enough, and if he thinks there's going to be a camera or a Twitter account nearby, he might show up. But, you know, the problem is the Republicans have already been very clear that they don't intend on doing their job, and they're going to let what happened on January 6th be not properly dealt with. And, you know, but again, Mitch McConnell, after watching him for the last several years, did I expect him to suddenly do the right thing? No.
Last 30 seconds, Mark, what about vaccinations? Is the cavalry coming? We know Joe Biden's ordered 200 million more doses. When do you think they'll arrive in Wisconsin, sir?
Yeah, I mean, the cavalry is coming, and it is a race between vaccinations and the variants, right? While at least we know there's some protection on some of the variants, more so on the British variant that could be the dominant in the country by March. We just need to get people vaccinated. My bigger worry, quite honestly, is we're going to get to 55% of the people, I think, pretty easy. How you get to 75% to make sure that people get vaccinated, I think that's going to be the true test that we're going to be talking about very soon.
Congressman Mark Pocan, our friend, my congressman. It's snowing and blowing in the district. Be well, Mark. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
More Devils. We'll be right back. Do you know the Devil's Advocate started as a podcast? Just two buddies talking into an iPad because we thought we had something to say. Do you have something to say? Let Devil Radio guide you. Launch your own broadcast quality podcast. Utilize our studios and staff, our hosting platform, and we will even promote your podcast on Devil Radio. Monthly packages start at just $295. Devil Radio's podcast platform to launch immediately after the election. Call today to learn more. 608-819-TALK.
Biden won because of you, because you stayed in line to vote even when you got tired, because you knew that your vote is power, because you understood what was at stake, and because you showed up, we now have the power. Text ACT to 668-366 to join the Move On movement to build an America for all. MoveOn.org. Political action paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Jimmy, crazy local music supporters have surrounded the studio. Take a look.
What does the sign say?
Support local music, double dipping is a right, and I love the Jimmies.
What do they want?
Live local music, Jimmy. Catch Maxink Radio every Saturday evening for the best of local music from Wisconsin. And live music performed in the Devil's Lair. Go to MaxinkRadio.com for the live music schedule. It's Maxink Radio, Saturdays at 6 on Devil Radio 92.7.
Give them what they want, Rocker. Hey, Rocker, I heard you have a rye whiskey.
I do, Jimmy. Rocker Rye Whiskey. The mash is a high rye with a touch of malted barley that makes it yummy.
And Rocker Rye Whiskey is dedicated to the Madison music scene?
It sure is, Jimmy. You can read the story on the back of the bottle at any of these fine locations. Star Liquor, Woodman's, Trixie's Liquor, Vic Pierce, Miller & Sons in Verona, Steve's Liquor, Total Wine, and enjoy Rocker Rye Whiskey at the Lazy Oaf Lounge and Sal's Dark Horse. Find out more at rockervodka.com.
Quit surfing the dial. You already found the greatest radio station ever, Devil Radio, on 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us on the phones, toll-free talk or text at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank our most recent guest, a fine one friend of ours. He was and is Congressman Mark Pocan, my congressman, our friend. Thank you, Mark. Look forward to talking with him, circling the wagons round again real soon. Whenever you talk to these DC-based staffers, they've got all these vernacular things they do. Oh, I'm out of pocket. The congressman's da-da-da. It's like they got their whole beltway language. I'm just happy.
Point on this. Going to touch on that. We've moved the needle. Those kinds of things.
Sort of. Yes. I'm just happy when I book them and they show up, Dom.
Right.
Thank you again for showing up, Congressman Mark Pocan. And Dominic, it has been long threatened and often promised, but the t-shirts, they've showed up.
Hey, all right.
I got the Devil Radio t-shirts. I know we had a sample. We showed them on inauguration night at our super duper fun and drunken inauguration night ball, I guess we called it, Tom. But I like these t-shirts much, much better. These are quality. Black t-shirts with the logo. I'm slimming
black.
I look damn sexy in these t-shirts.
You are looking good.
And Dominic, here's the deal. Best caller, by my arbitrary assessment, between now and the end of the big show here, gets a t-shirt. I got hundreds of t-shirts, man. We're giving away t-shirts, Devil Radio t-shirts for all my friends. And maybe even you, Dominic.
Ooh, 844-967-2789. You got a take on any of the topics today? Something you want to tell Crudy? You got a wise ass call you want to give us a shout. 844-96-party.
Our pal, Kurt, I believe initially sent I guess he sent a hyperlink to me, Dom. And the hyperlink said, Walker Live. And I said, tell me more. So anyways, I went through the hyperlink and eventually it loaded. And it was from the, what is that called? The Young Nazi Association. He's now the president CEO of
Young American Foundation.
Apparently, they're going to feature the Wankinator in a straight to YouTube live stream on February 11th, Dom.
What?
Sign up early. Where is it? Here's what I love the most, especially considering the source, the former gubernator of the state of Wisconsin. I call him the Wanker. The name of this presentation, The Fight of Our Lives, Saving America Like We Saved Wisconsin.
Oh, come on now. Is that what you did? You saved Wisconsin?
Here's why that is not a defendable position. I'm not even going to talk about his real record, just logic for a moment. If A is true and B is true, then C must also be true. A, if you saved Wisconsin, why didn't you get reelected? You, Scott Walker, you're no longer the governor of the state of Wisconsin.
All right. If you're the savior, why were you rejected?
So either your ideas didn't save Wisconsin, the people of Wisconsin didn't see you as any sort of a savior, and your bright ideas, no sort of salvation, #Foxconn, Or B, despite the fact that you were the savior of the great state of Wisconsin, you are so personally lacking in charisma and leadership qualities that despite your status as savior of the great state of Wisconsin, the voter still rejected you. Which is it, Scott Walker? Hamburger A or hamburger B?
Having a great time.
Having a great time.
Both can't be true, Dom.
Well, he has very little personality, and of course, he was rejected thankfully by the voters of Wisconsin. Finally,
but before it was rejected by
doing the Trump huckster thing, hustling around,
grifting,
going with the narrative. I mean, listen, comparing the Act 10 rising, right? Pushback on Act 10, 100,000 people at the Capitol, peaceful, and comparing that to what the insurrection incited by guys like him. And certainly Donald Trump, and hell, even I'll throw a little shout out for Wisconsin's own Ron Johnson. They're living in this alternative fact universe. I mean, just because there's a group of people, you can't compare them just because they're the group of people. I mean, there are differences, and for them to come up and save America. I mean, so we got to take back the country. All this kind of talk. Take back from what? Save from what? All you maskless Republicans out there, what rights have you lost? What are you fighting for? What are you fighting about? Why are you so angry? What's the problem?
Well, Dominic, we've had him as an occasional guest on the show. Conservative blogger David Blaska. You know the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Mumbles a lot on the radio. More clever in writing than in person. But anyways, Blaska posted on his social media page a Fox News piece. The group being sued for $2.7 billion for defamation, Dom. Source them. And the headline, AOC faces backlash as critics point out she wasn't in the Capitol building during the riot. And I had to tag him back. I said, Blaska, you and your Trumpster buddies, whether or not she was physically in the rotunda or whether she was sheltering in her office in the congressional office building where there were also insurrectionists and the Capitol cops told her, whether that fear was real or perceived, if there was an active shooter in Blaska's building, do you think he'd be the brave one? So
I think
anyways,
he'd walk in there even if he didn't have a weapon.
So Blaska defends himself. Well, if you've been reading my recent posts, you know I'm no longer a Trumpster, question mark. And my response to Blaska is, Blaska, let's not forget your buddy Scotty Wanker. Walker, how much mileage has he been getting out of his perceived fear of the peaceful singing grandmas that showed up at the Wisconsin Capitol? He's still getting mileage out of it 10 years later, right? And AOC is in real harm's way. You've got serious and credible threats against her life, and you're going to diminish that? Blaska.
Yes, he is.
You don't get a t-shirt, Blaska. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. You want a t-shirt? You better start dialing and have a good take. 844-967-2789. They are super sexy.
Foxconn will help Wisconsin win the 21st century. I want to thank God for his abundant grace.
A progressive voice in rural Wisconsin, WTTN 1580 AM is South Central Wisconsin's home for Devil Radio. Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
Hey, it's Pizza Box Mike. I've got a show outside the Pizza Box. Be sure to listen on Saturdays at noon on Devil Radio. There is a reason why they won't let me on Facebook anymore.
Restoring Foreign Ties. I'm Jackie Quinn with an AP News Minute.
America is back.
President Biden visiting the State Department to greet diplomats there, asserting a broad reset of America's foreign policy. Biden says he'll halt the withdrawal of U.S. troops in Germany, end support for the Saudi offensive in Yemen, and boost support for LGBTQ rights. In the House, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy claims he doesn't know about the QAnon conspiracy theory.
QAnon, I don't know if I say it right. I don't even know what it is.
Even though he publicly denounced it in August. McCarthy is defending Georgia's Majorie Taylor Greene, who in the past supported QAnon and other conspiracy theories. She's blaming social and mainstream media.
I was allowed to believe things that weren't true, and I would ask questions about them and talk about them. And that is absolutely what I regret.
A New Mexico State Patrol officer's dad killed in a shooting on I-10. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it. With new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested. Because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine?
Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. The Republican-led State Assembly plans to convene at 10 a.m. today to once again send the repeal of the statewide mask mandate back to the state Senate. Speaker Robin Vos said if the resolution passes today, the amended package could be taken up by the Senate when it meets again in mid-February. As we did our due diligence, legislative attorneys and conservative legal experts confirmed the Senate amendment had unintended consequences and would actually expand the governor's emergency powers, Speaker Vos said in a statement. The Assembly now plans to repeal that amendment. A winter mix of rain and snow is expected this morning, continuing throughout the day. A winter weather advisory is in effect until noon tomorrow. Expected accumulation is 3 to 6 inches of snow and icy conditions. You're listening to Devil Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Thursday to us all. Be careful out there. It's snowing and blowing here in the great state of Wisconsin, at least in the Madison area. What's it look like out the window there, Dom? Give us the eyewitness report in Milwaukee.
It's lightened up a bit, but it's still coming down.
Looks slick out there. Good news is I don't even have a car. I'm not driving anywhere. Curl up next to the radio. Crudy's going to talk. I'm doing a radiothon all night long until someone gives me a ride.
844-967-2789. Giving away some t-shirts today. If you have a good take, give us a call. Crudy got some updates here from Molly Beck at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. She tweeted out here just a few moments ago, I guess about 37 minutes ago. Republican Steve Knotts from the state of Wisconsin says he's drafting a new resolution to end the new emergency order that mandates masks. Quote, I will also be calling on Senate leadership to consider filing for an emergency action in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Then Molly Beck tweets out again 30 minutes ago, another quote from Knotts. The rule of law and the Wisconsin Constitution require Evers to recognize the legislature ended his emergency powers. Instead, Tony Evers now acts no differently than a dictator in control of a banana republic.
You know, this Steve Knotts sounds a lot like Cartman. Respect the authority. Why won't Tony do what we demand he do? I know,
and he didn't end his. I mean, and I want to be clear. And I didn't read the. Let's see. It hasn't been legislation. This joint resolution, right? But they cannot, by joint resolution, take away Tony Evers' emergency powers. Now, they can cancel the emergency order, but Tony Evers still retains emergency powers, does he not?
Well, not if they get their way.
Well, good luck
they'll give
with
him
that.
back to the next Republican governor, but Tony, Democrats have no power. I mean, did you learn nothing from the lame duck before the man even was inaugurated? They've been clipping his wings since day one, Dom. About time they, started reining in this unitary executive concept here in the state of Wisconsin. That last guy wrecked it for you, Tony.
Right.
So anyways, how do you think this one will play out, Dom? Because the Wisconsin Supreme Court very recently, in a different case, said, we cannot be the court of origination. You got to go somewhere else first. Let's say a district court, and then you get a ruling, and then you appeal that ruling, and then the appellate court rules, and then the Wisconsin Supreme Court can say yay or nay, you got it right, and then they write some sort of lengthy decision. And you'll have the three conservatives talking about Rogan, Sack, and Ziegler. And I forget the third craziest one.
Bradley.
Oh, yeah. The craziest
The bad
one.
Bradley.
The bad Bradley. Rebecca Bradley. And then Hagedorn, he's sort of a jump ball. Never can't tell where he might come down on these issues. The most independent of the jurist on the court, apparently, Dom. But it's going to be a 4-3 one way or the other.
Right.
When they get that far. But in the meantime, I can't wait to see the Republicans come into session just to overturn the mask mandate. And then Tony Evers issues a new emergency like he just did today that extends the mask mandate to May. And then, Republicans have to go vote again.
And I referenced this earlier in the show, and I did find at least an article here. Scott Bauer from the AP has posted at NBC Chicago. It's from November 17th of 2020. Wisconsin Supreme Court considers mask mandate challenge. Evers argues that he can issue multiple health emergency, even though state laws limits him to 60 days. So they heard the arguments virtually back in November. And according to the reporting here, they wouldn't issue a ruling for several weeks. And of course, it's been several weeks, right? We haven't heard specifically on this. So,
well, and the good news is
going to have the Republicans in the Wisconsin Senate, try to get some emergency order to get to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which seemingly is already considering this issue.
Well, let's not forget, Tony Evers didn't issue this mask mandate until Jill Karofsky was impaneled on the Wisconsin Supreme Court and Dan Kelly was gone. The difference between now and last April, when the Supreme Court threw out the safer at home mandate, is Dan Kelly. He has been replaced by liberal Jill Karofsky. So it is a different makeup of the court than when they last ruled on a similar but, differing issue. 844-967-2789. Doogie from Chicago. Welcome back, Doogie. What do you got today?
Hey, Doogie.
Hey, happy Thursday. It's hump day +1.
Yeah, man.
So what I wanted to call in on the first Wednesday after Joe Biden's inauguration was I wanted to tell a little story that you guys might enjoy.
Yeah, but Doogie, that was last Wednesday.
Well, okay. Yeah, I know. I had to call in about that union guy. Well, Anyway.
Okay, but go ahead now. I'm sorry to interrupt with facts and calendars, but you go.
So when I was 18, I got arrested and I was on this supervision stuff. And, they said, you got to do this, you got to do that. And of course, I didn't want to do certain things. They violated me, put me to court. And my lawyer was like, when you got court on Monday, so you need to do as much community service as you can and have your restitution check ready. I'm okay. So Friday, I did 8 hours community service. Saturday, I did 8 hours community service. And then Sunday, I did 4 hours community service before court. And then I had my restitution check there. And then the judge, minimal compliance. If you don't do everything that they tell you, okay, fine.
How many hours were you supposed to have worked before you showed back up in court, Doogie? Do you have like 500 hours of community service? You racked up like 20 over the final weekend before you had to appear before the judge? Because, exactly. I'm going to be sympathetic with the court here, Doogie, in this case.
So the moral of the story is We barely scraped through with Joe Biden in a 50-50 Senate, and we got an election in less than 2 years, 2022, 2024, 2026. Minimal compliance. We cannot get complacent, and we got to maintain a blue wave and keep pushing and don't get complacent. Let's not lose that energy.
Hell yeah, Doogie.
I like it, but I can't guarantee you've won a T-shirt yet.
We'll have to wait and see.
Check back in later.
I'm the one that told you to get T-shirts in April. But
Yeah, you and everybody else, man.
I was waiting for the Republicans in the state of Wisconsin to overturn the mask mandate, and then I figured you could wear T-shirts if not masks.
See, there you go, Doogie.
These two events were tied together. It doesn't seem logical, but follow me on that one.
I love it.
Doogie, talk soon, man. Keep listening. 844-967-2789. I'll put that down as a maybe. Maybe Doogie gets a T-shirt unless someone tops him. And I feel quite confident that could happen.
Yeah, you better dial now. 844-96-PARTY. Still waiting to hear from DC. Is Majorie Taylor Greene going to get kicked off of those committees? We didn't specifically ask Mark Pocan how he's going to vote, but I could assume it'd be get her ass out of there, but I don't know. But that has not come down yet. And as soon as it does, hopefully it will before the end of this fine program, will Marjorie Taylor Greene be booted off of her committees? I hope so. 844-967-2789.
What gives you the impression that our pal Mark Pocan is down for QPP down?
He ain't down QPP. You know me.
We'll take the next caller here in just a moment. 844-967-2789. I believe it's our pal Jeannie from Eau Claire. Jeannie, I hear you on Matt's show occasionally, but you barely ever visit the Devils anymore.
Hey, Jeannie.
I'm listening so intently that I just don't call. You've got so many great callers. Jeez.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
Are you still taking notes, Jeannie? Are you still the unofficial transcriptionist of the Devil's Advocates?
Oh, I got lots of notes from the Devil's Advocates, believe you me. But that's among probably, I'd say, 50 notebooks on what the heck's going on in our government. Unbelievable. I was watching those hearings today, as a matter of fact. Just sick.
Now, are we talking about the hearings in D.C. or on the Marjorie Taylor Greene hearings?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, just putrid. I mean, I got to refrain from calling, but I'm sitting there and it's like they're lying to me as I'm watching them. And it's just putrid watching Jim Jordan and the gang up there just going after the Democrats when they refused to do anything. It's just unbelievable. I got to tell you, those Republicans, they're like the scum of the earth. I'm sorry to say such rude stuff, but they're scummy and sleazy in the way they lie. It's like, give me a break. You think we're a bunch of stoops here? And it's like, how can people vote for them? I mean, and they act like they're just so above everybody else, and they're so honest and have integrity. And Margie gave this little speech, to how she wasn't that way anymore, and she's a mama and she's got 3 kids. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I hope they're paying attention to what's going on with their kids. It's a creepy thing here, what's going on now. And then what they did is they tried to vote to adjourn so that they wouldn't vote on her. And I thought, you scumbags. I was watching the different things that were going on. And then the Republicans brought up they wanted to adjourn, so then they had to go through a whole vote on whether they were going to adjourn. They wanted to adjourn before they had, the vote on her. They're still playing the same games.
So they call the roll, so everyone's got to do it. They waste more time. And Gene, I mean, that's the strategy, though, right? When they don't have control, it's stall, sandbag, and try to gum up the works any way they can to stop the momentum of the Democratic Party that would be in charge then. And what they already took a month off of the Senate, right? I mean, finally, McConnell agreed to hand over the gavels. Well, thanks 4 weeks later, Mitch.
Isn't it? It's like we're watching, like a science fiction movie with these these idiots running the show. And you know what really bugs the crap out of me? These Republicans are really stupid. You know, they like to run down the elitist Democrats. Now, I can say this because I don't belong to a party. I never have. I've always voted for the person, but not no more. But I tell you, you know, they blame the Democrats for being, no, it's not. It's they're educated, you fool. And, you know, and then we've always gotten frustrated with the Democrats because they've played fair. Well, that's what you learn to do in school, is to be fair. And so then when they start doing what everybody's calling and balling them out, believe me, they get lots of calls from me. And it's like, you know, they start doing what the public's saying, you got to do this, you got to fight back. And then they start whining and crying because the Democrats don't want to work together. It's just unbelievable, guys. I just like mind-blowing watching this stuff.
Okay,
well,
Jeannie.
It is a movie, Jeannie. It's Idiocracy. That's what it is.
Hey, Jeannie, good news. I got great news for you. That passionate phone call has earned you a fine Devil Radio t-shirt.
Hey, all right.
I'm going to put you back on hold. Don't hang up. Jimmy K is going to take your address. And then
my goodness.
We're going to send you a t-shirt just for being super cool and calling in today.
Well, I would wear that with great pride because you guys are my very favorite radio show. Thank you.
Now, do you want one to, Jeannie, last question before we let you go. Do you want one to wear as like everyday wear? Or do you want one like oversized so you can wear it to bed at night?
Probably oversized. Then I have a choice.
Oh, see?
Yeah, you got to be ready for that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's like lingerie. Jeannie, hold tight. Our pal Jimmy K is going to get your address. I'm going to send you a Devil Radio t-shirt. And when I say I mean like the royal I.
The royal we.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Luke actually mailing the t-shirt, Jeannie, but you know, if it gets there late, it's all Luke's fault. But we have t-shirts, hundreds of them. Devil Radio t-shirts. We're going to give lots of t-shirts away from here till when we run out of the extra larges, because everybody but Jeannie is like super extra large.
Come on, man. What are you talking about? I'm a medium.
Okay.
Give me a medium.
Yeah, but the average man size in Wisconsin is XL, flirting with the double XL. You are the exception, you know, because you're like half a man. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Where's Kyle Rittenhouse?
Where?
He's a fugitive from justice. Arrest his ass. And why don't you pick up Donald Trump while you're at it? Phone lines open, 844-967-2789.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Are you a small business owner or professional that would like to be featured in your own weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil Radio? Let us help you in your business team with our broadcast professionals to create the right show or segment, setting you apart as the go-to professional and as an expert in your field. All shows and sponsored segments are podcasted. It will be professional broadcast quality. Packages from $395. Call Devil Radio today at 608-819-TALK.
So, Darcy, it's too bad we can only meet during 30-second commercials because I have some follow-up questions for you.
Sure, Dom. I'll give you 20 seconds.
Well, you say don't call the sign to see the property with that agent, or you're not free to write an offer for me. But why? And why is it your services would be free?
Those are excellent questions, Dom. Just not for a radio ad. Just go to our website
at solidarityrealty.com
and click on the orange button on the homepage that says, why not just call the sign?
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, and they're honest. And you won't be limited to 30 seconds. Find them at solidarityrealty.com.
By now, you've heard the benefits of CBD. Verdure now introduces the newest cannabinoid from the hemp plant, Delta-8. This cannabinoid goes far beyond the relaxing benefits of CBD. Our customers said the benefits of Delta-8 edibles and smokables have offered them anxiety relief, reduced stress, and a great night's sleep. See what the buzz is all about. Go to 21offers.com and use the coupon code 927LIP for a free gift of CBD lip balm to combat chapped lips and ward away cold sores. That's 21offers.com and 927LIP. Must be 21 years or older.
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com. Like, wow, Scoob, it's Devil Radio. Rebel Radio?
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. If you got something to say, pick up the phone right now. Give us a call. Toll free at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, Devil Radio, now with more arbitrary t-shirt giveaways. We got swag, man. You're not a radio station until you got swag to give away.
So we finally a radio station now?
We're a real little operation now, Dom. We got swag. You could have a super sexy shirt. Those watching on the Facebook live stream, I mean, look at this t-shirt. This is a better t-shirt than the t-shirt I last modeled.
Now, is that a triple XL, Crudy? What size you got there?
Back off.
Right now he's all sensitive.
Well, the XL...
See, Jimmy K guy busting my chops all the time. Like one pet joke, and now I'm the mean guy.
The XL fits me nicely, but as someone pointed out, you don't want to hear any more Birdie t-shirt jokes. My fear being after it's washed a couple times might be a little shrinkage.
Yeah, just a tad. Half shirt.
So I'm sporting the 2XL. The 2XL, man size, if you will. Hey, real quick, before we get back to the phones, and we are getting back to the phones at 844-967-2789. The Wanker on his Twitter stream. Now he's part of the YAF, the Young Aryan Youth Foundation, whatever they call themselves.
Young American Foundation?
So anyways, the Young American Foundation tweeted out at Jen Psaki, the new communications director for the Biden White House, I guess, a picture of her wearing a blue blazer and a pink sort of a fur hat with a hammer and sickle on it. And obviously she's on some sort of trip. There are people, someone's got their arm around her shoulder. She's clearly part of a photo op. I would say look at former Sheriff David A. Clark Jr. in the photo op there. And the YAF, Scott Walker's alternative Twitter stream, tweets out, when is Jen Psaki going to hammer and sickle back to us about this photo? And then Scott Walker tweeted it out again with, a little sideways laughing emoji face. And you know what made me laugh? When I saw Scott Walker retweeting Scott Walker effectively from his alternative Twitter account.
That is?
Well, A, pathetic, and B, how much Jen Psaki reminds me of the redheaded Russian spy, Maria Butina.
Oh, that's right.
That Scott Walker greeted in the Mother Russian, in the VIP room at the National Rifle Association when he was a failed presidential candidate trying to make a big splash.
Oh, I thought he met her on the rope line.
Well, he claimed he met her on the rope line. He also claimed he took Russian at Marquette, ? And then he invited her to his presidential campaign launch in Waukesha, Dom.
And she went.
And when I've seen Maria Butina represented wearing, like a Russian furry hat, there is a striking resemblance between Scott Walker's Russian spy girlfriend and Joe Biden's communications director. I just find it ironic that Scott Walker doesn't see the resemblance.
He likes the redheads. 844-967-2789. Joe from Madison, you are up. Welcome, Joe. What do you got today?
Hey, Joe.
Another great show. Thanks, guys. I am here to comment on Mr. Blaska's comments. Boy, is this once again an example of Republican lying and slime. It's just out and out lying.
And attacking the victims.
Yes. Well, if you look at this, he looks on his blog, he cites another GOP representative. She's a Republican from South Carolina. Her name is Nancy Mace. And he said that Nancy Mace now claims on February 4, she says that I'm 2 doors down from AOC's office and there are no insurrectionists stormed our hallways. Now, that's pretty comical because on the day of Ms. Mace, Representative Mace, claims that she barricaded herself in her D.C. office during the attack, fearing that Trump supporters would be targeting her because she had voted to certify the electoral votes. Interesting that he takes a woman who spins 180, a Republican woman, Ms. Mace, who spins 180 in 1 month, so she can diss on AOC, that this is the person that David Blaska chooses to run his comments with when he runs down AOC. You know, he might want to get the facts, and he might want to stop sliming people and have some idea of what he's talking about. This article that I found was just in the Hill. This isn't as hard to find this information, but yet he has to take the take of let's slime AOC. And I guess, you know, women get it all the time. You know, how dare you feel, even though you're Nancy Mace or AOC, how dare you feel afraid when things like this are going on? I don't know. I thought it was pretty reprehensible, and I felt compelled to call.
About a real full flip-flop, a full 180 turned into a 360 flip-flop. Dominic and I went to the nomination of Donald Trump. In fact, we snuck into Scotty Wanker's party at Shooters on the River at the invitation of David Blaska. We dropped Blaska's name. That didn't get us in the door, but I was driving an expensive car, and apparently they thought I might be donor class, so they chased us out to the parking lot, invited us back in. But at that time, Blaska, who was an alternative delegate at the RNC, he was the biggest anti-Trumper there. He was hammered the night at Shooters on the River, the night they nominated Trump, because he was not happy. And, you know, apparently he drinks through his sorrow. But above and beyond that, he went full Trump embracive. And then apparently after the Capitol insurrection, he's back to anti-Trump. You know, after the inauguration of Joe Biden, he's back to anti-Trumpster. So he's flipped and flopped and flipped again on this topic.
Yeah. That's Olympic. He really, you know, it's coming up gymnastics. He'd be all set. Nice, able to do a spin on the parallel bars.
Well, he does remind me
the Olympics running
of Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School doing a triple Lindy.
Chris from Janesville, you will have the last word today. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hanging in there, man. Looking at the snow, wondering how I'm getting home later.
I got two quick things. One, I tuned in right as you were talking about the IRS, and I can tell you this. Last year, my wife just did the taxes, and they absolutely take care of us who are on the medium level income. And I don't mean that.
Meaning you're under audit, Chris?
Not an audit yet. But we made a little bit more money last year because she got her doctorate, and all of a sudden, this is the first year ever in our 23 years of marriage that we owe. So we got to look into that.
Well, the Trump tax cuts didn't work out for you, Chris. You got like 10 seconds, man. Make it super quick, buddy. We're out of show.
You keep using idiocracy. That was my idea. Damn it. I didn't get you for that call.
Thanks, Chris. It is idiocracy, man. It's terrible. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it, man.
Dominic, want to thank all the fine guests and callers and listeners of this show, including Andrew Seidel from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, Eddie from Lutima Mask, our new fine sponsor. They're the best mask, LETMA. Go find them, lutima.com. And Congressman Mark Pocan, of course. Friday, Jim Santel joins us. Earl's Knocks giving away Devil Radio t-shirts.
The Lazy Oaf Lounge is Madison's East Side place for friends and family. Stop in for a cold drink